One imagined giving everything you had only to be thrown away like trash. That was Ichinose Ikome, a man once feared as the god of the swift blade. He bled for his country, fought on the front lines and risked his life over and over. His reward, they labeled him completely obsolete. They called him weak, dead weight, and maybe they were actually right. They cast him aside, but while his old team chased glory elsewhere, a terrifying S-rank calamity ripped through his city. No other strong fighters were near except him. He knew he could not win. He was only there to buy precious time. Second by second, saving lives. Maybe they were right about him after all. That day, facing down a legendary dragon, he fell, yet before he died, he stole something incredible, a mythical broken watch from the god of time himself. Drawing his final breath, he activated it, clawing his way back 10 years into the past. Not this time. No more mistakes, no more playing it's safe. Now he's choosing the exact class everyone laughs at, the one nobody ever managed to make work. The weaker they thought he was, the stronger he intends to become, starting from scratch with the most powerful class available. He will show the world that discarded him exactly why they should fear him. Ichinose is thoroughly impressed looking outside. His phone screen perfectly matches the mythical watch. He remembers using that powerful device to travel back, recalling how the system warned him it would disappear from all timelines upon activation. Now Ichinose pulls up his status menu, finding it completely blank, solidifying his belief that he truly went back. Once he processes this incredible reality, he vows to use this golden chance to become the strongest. He watches a tense broadcast discussing the rapidly climbing numbers of casualties and why ordinary citizens are banned from portals. An expert warns that monster threats are escalating, meaning the dangers will skyrocket without strict division. This calm television debate makes Ichinose realize he is definitely 10 years in the past. Such relaxed arguments will vanish soon as survival becomes everything. But hey, knowing the future ahead of time is his biggest weapon. Secrets about quick leveling spots and priceless, hidden items are completely locked in his memory. For now, he focuses on unlocking his class first. Before choosing his class, however, he absolutely needs to hit level 10 first. Low-tier portals are perfect since unclassed beginners can easily slip in. Major guilds simply guard them without clearing. Entering an F-rank goblin nest, Ichinose aims to reach level 6. While there, he spots an older man fighting. That was a close call. The senior calls out, asking if the newbies are safe. Ichinose wonders what this guy is up to. The veteran warns him that walking alone is risky since even weak goblins can easily swarm an adventurer. He introduces himself as Kenji Ohara, a level 16 longsword user dedicated to protecting rookies. He proudly claims his local nickname is the tutorial guy, Ichinose. Sighs, realizing the veteran is well-meaning, but incredibly awkward to be around. As they venture deeper, Kenji Ohara explains his business collapsed during the initial dungeon disaster. Hoping to stay useful, he dedicated himself to guiding others, putting his entire heart into it. Hearing this, Ichinose can only wondering if he should just follow him forever. Either way, he manages to reach level 10 incredibly fast, easily rising through the ranks thanks to his regression knowledge. Kenji praises the young man for making it this far, noting that he is surprisingly strong. He predicts Ichinose will become a great adventurer one day, unaware of his past. Even though he regressed, Ichinose was once a legendary S-rank powerhouse. Meanwhile, the old man points out that at level 10, he can finally choose his class. Kenji urges him to think carefully and offers advice, but Ichinose has other plans. Ichinose knows his class options depend entirely on his current skills and stats, which are unlocked by allocating points very carefully. The old man highly recommends the longsword class, so the young man can fight with pure power just like him, but considering the boy is delicate combat style, a thief class could work too, yet this is exactly what Ichinose wants, none of it. Kenji asks why he has no skills unlocked yet, wondering if he simply does not know how to choose them. He asks if his basic training forgot to teach him haste and strength. Those two skills boost key stats and are considered absolutely mandatory. Ichinose already possesses them, but he also knows a vital secret. To reach the absolute peak, relying on them would waste valuable health points. He spent all night planning to acquire a very specific skill instead. Kenji strongly warns him against it, but Ichinose chooses fall resistance anyway. The old man groans, calling resistance skills useless and fall resistance the absolute worst. But Ichinose knows exactly what he is doing, keeping his eyes on the prize. Kenji keeps nagging him, joking that he must be terrified of heights. Ignoring the nagging, Ichinose upgrades his fall resistance straight to level 2. Totally baffling the veteran, then he pushes it right up to level 3. Driving Kenji absolutely insane, he is utterly confused, watching these precious points get wasted. With all those points dumped into fall resistance, Kenji realizes the kid is locked into either the swordsman or villager class, yet Ichinose remains calm. He is actually angling for a secret option, the hidden gravity user class. This class only unlocks if someone dumps every single health point up to level 10. Directly into fall resistance, which is exactly what he did. These requirements are so absurdly strict that it took humanity ages to ever uncover it. Even then, nobody picked it because it seemed completely impossible to play. 10 years went by with zero research, but our hero knows its true potential. Thanks to his S-rank past, he knows gravity manipulation is the ultimate class. As the system prompts him to confirm, Kenji frantically warns him it is a magic class and he should stick to swords, but Ichinose does not hesitate. He locks it in, and the system confirms his new gravity user class. While the veteran facepalms in despair, Ichinose is absolutely thrilled. This is the exact broken magic class he was waiting for. He vows to climb to the peak of this world and never suffer the crushing humiliation of his past life again. Knowing nothing of this, the old man keeps arguing that magic classes are trash. He warns that Ichinose will be too fragile, with low defense and high mortality. He even bluntly suggests that the young man should just quit being an adventurer. But Ichinose knows the veteran is only saying this out of worry. They think melee classes are the strongest right now. Suddenly, their conversation gets cut short. A red-hooded goblin bursts out and attacks nearby people. The old man thinks it is a bad joke. Why would this show up? This red-hooded goblin is a rare spawn. The spawn rate is incredibly low. He only came here for easy targets. He expected weak, low-level monsters. Running is his best bet, but looking around, he sees only rookies here. They are all barely level 10. He realizes he has to step up. Ohara screams for Ichinose to run while he distracts the fast monster. Ichinose eyes the red-hooded goblin, thinking Ohara can easily win this fight. But watch closely, the actual clash tells a completely different story. Ohara struggles. He is completely unused to fighting enemies of his own level. He asks if anyone can face a monster above level 15. Silence. Everyone is too terrified. One hit from that thing means instant death. Ichinose knows he should stay back since he is not at the right level. He cannot even read its movements. A single strike means game over. His gravity mage stats are low, and he has not even checked his skills. But then he remembers Ohara. The veteran always worries about helpless rookies. Leaving him behind just feels wrong. Besides, Ichinose loves a tough challenge. Ohara insists there is no way Ichinose can survive this fight. Mages are totally helpless against physical fighters, the older man warns. With this massive level gap, the protagonist will die in seconds. But Ichinose just stares at the red-hooded goblin with intense focus. He chose this class to be the strongest. Now is the perfect test. If he flees from a basic goblin like this, he fails his second life. He refuses to run. Meanwhile, Ohara desperately tries to force him to escape, but Ichinose knows mages usually lack physical strength, so they need teammates, except the gravity user is a different story. By manipulating gravity, he can convert his mana directly into raw strength. This gives him a massive physical boost. He triggers it immediately. He cuts his own gravity in half to become lighter and faster. Ohara is shocked to see the boy move like a blur. A lighter body makes his own path predictable, but that is fine. As long as he can read the goblin's attacks, he can dodge them. The terrifying monster is suddenly moving in slow motion. He asks the beast how many speed battles it thinks he has survived. Ichinose lands a heavy hit. Ohara cannot believe a low-level mage did that. He completely overpowered the fast goblin. Gravity magic offers incredible physical scaling. With enough mana, the potential of this class is absolutely insane, especially against monsters with simple, predictable attack patterns. Ichinose can easily outmaneuver them with basic gravity controls. Ohara watches in complete awe and asks who he really is. But Ichinose just tells the older adventurer to stay focused on the fight. Shaking off his deep shock, Ohara charges forward with his blade. Ichinose supports him from behind. He is glad the enemy turned its back. Channeling his gravity magic once more, he unleashes another heavy field. With the goblin frozen and completely vulnerable, Old Man Ohara finally has his perfect opening. One clean swing is all it takes to completely finish off the beast. X floods in. Right then, Ichinose realizes something massive. This crazy gravity class could actually make him completely unstoppable. Meanwhile, the rest of the group stare in total disbelief, completely unable to accept that he is just a newbie. He just shredded a red-hooded goblin. Even Ohara admits that in a tight spot. He never expected a low-level newbie to pull off a stunt like that. The other rookies have absolutely no idea how incredibly insane a feat like this really is. Genius does not even cut it. The kid is on a whole different level. But Ichinose is running on empty. His knees buckle as exhaustion hits. His entire mana pool is completely wiped out. Gravity magic is incredibly taxing. And burns through points fast. He knew this drawback existed, but still. Managing his resources is going to be life or death now. Ohara steps in, offering a warm nod of deep gratitude before asking if the young man needs a ride out of the dungeon. Pride aside, Ichinose has to agree. It is a bit embarrassing, sure, but Ohara is just stunned that a newbie would risk his neck to save him. The old guy is deeply grateful. Not just for the rescue, but for restoring his lost courage. He realizes he spent his entire life cowering from weak monsters. Taking a firm step forward, Ohara decides it is time to move past his tutorial days. He lifts the exhausted young hero onto his shoulders. A silent grin spreads across his face. He just witnessed the birth of a true legend, Ikome Ichinose. Later on, our guy completes his first deep dive into his new gravity powers. Now, it is grind time. But solo leveling is way too dangerous, so he has to find a decent squad to join. To tag along with, easier said than done, though, because the guild receptionist has literally never heard of his gravity class. To her, it looks like a weak magic subclass with terrible stats, leaving her wondering if he can even fight. Hold his own in battle. Undeterred, Ichinose asks if any parties are looking for temporary recruits. She points him toward a decent, beginner-friendly group. Ichinose immediately asks to be introduced to them, hoping for a decent starting point. The receptionist warns him that they probably won't be thrilled about his garbage stats. Rare classes are usually a massive headache to use, and our boy knows he is not welcome. He knew he would face pushback, but this level of disrespect is completely wild. To set up the meeting and let him handle the talking, right then. A smug voice cuts in, telling Ichinose to stop wasting her time. Newcomer is visibly offended that Ichinose does not recognize his face. He boasts about leading an elite, fast-rising rookie party that everyone should know by now. His name is Shu Utsunamiya, and he only recruits close-range fighters. Magic classes, in his arrogant opinion, are completely useless in real combat. He calls magic a crutch for cowards, meant for people who are far too terrified to ever look a monster in the eye. He sneers, telling Ichinose he lacks the guts to make it as a real hunter. Seriously, his ego is unreal, assuming the kid is crying over his bad class. With stats that garbage, he insists Ichinose is just dead weight. The protagonist has a rare magic class, but since both have rare classes, it is on a completely different scale. Ichinose asks if he also has a rare class, and Shu Utsunamiya confirms it, mentioning she has sharp hearing. Then, he tells the protagonist to just watch closely. He then unleashes his unique skill, Lightning. The guild leader comments that it is a powerful class with impressive stats and great skills, perfect for outdoor combat and highly suitable for him. Onlookers are stunned by the raw power, quietly wondering if there is any class out there that can match it. Instantly, Shu Utsunamiya swells with pride. The receptionist tries to warn him about using active skills inside the guild hall. But the leader interjects, arguing he must explain reality to those who do not understand. He insists that a weak link should never drag down their team. The protagonist asks if he finds that outlook too reckless, but Shu Utsunamiya scoffs that being an adventurer is not volunteer work. Meanwhile, the protagonist knows the Thunder Knight class focuses purely on offensive power, utilizing highly predictable movements while remaining weak against fast opponents and elemental counters. In truth, he struggles against any enemy he cannot overwhelm with simple brute force. Honestly, Shu Utsunomiya is nothing but a parasite trying to ride others' coattails. Quite pathetic, honestly, he thinks. Classes are completely useless trash, yet the realization that Shu is a rare class Thunder Knight still leaves the protagonist feeling quite envious. Rumors say that Shu Utsunomiya was able to freely allocate his stat points when he started, which the leader confirms. He adds that since it has not been long since the portal disaster, working solo is the protagonist's best option to build up proper credentials. This harsh advice reminds the protagonist of a forgotten truth. That back in the early days, having flashy, straightforward skills and high stats was everything. The receptionist suggests Shu Utsunomiya should not go that far. But the protagonist interrupts, explaining he has already weighed his options carefully and plans to operate solo. The leader coldly advises him to quit being an adventurer entirely, predicting he will barely survive the trials ahead. Leaving the office, the protagonist politely thanks him for the warning. The leader wonders what the young man will do next. Inside the guild library, the protagonist realizes that finding a temporary team to build trust is highly unlikely. Instead, he needs to seek out a long-term party that can truly complement his unique gravity user abilities. To achieve that, he must focus on raising his level and earning solid credentials. Previously, he managed to defeat a dangerous red-hooded goblin easily. These low-level beasts have highly predictable patterns, and he has successfully adapted to the high-speed movements of gravity manipulation. Even so, he knows he needs to enter a higher-rank portal to truly evolve. A highly suitable location for him now is the Stone Statue Temple portal, which recommends level 25. These stable upkeep portals exist for hunters to raise their levels and harvest valuable magic crystals. They can be easily managed while remaining permanently active. Slow, heavily armored stone knight statues usually spawn inside, allowing mid-tier adventurers to gather gold and experience very efficiently. A safe zone like this is exactly what the protagonist needs, as he believes that proving himself solo will make attracting strong teammates much easier. Ichinose notes that since the recommended level is low, clearing the first few stages to boost his strength seems entirely possible. With that, he makes his choice. He needs to level up in the Stone Statue Temple, then find a compatible class. Right inside that very temple, another adventurer is already running into serious trouble. The poor guy panics. He wishes someone had warned him about the dangers here. He runs for his life, terrified of the massive threat closing in fast. A giant stone statue slams right into him. Meanwhile, Ichinose heads to the guild. He wants permission to enter the temple, but the receptionist instantly shuts him down. She says his level is too low, but Ichinose argues there is no ban. The receptionist insists there is, desperately trying to talk some sense into him. She warns that going in is a death wish since the recommended level is 25. Plus, they barely know anything about the portals, meaning high-level monsters could jump him. Still, Ichinose remains completely unfazed. He promises he will just take a quick look and come right back out. Secretly, he knows he must take big risks and defeat strong beasts to grow. That is just the golden rule of leveling up in this harsh world. He is confident a quick fight will easily secure a massive level boost. But the moment he steps inside the temple, the stone statues begin to move. One lunges at him from the dark, but he is already fully on guard. He easily avoids the strike and quickly pulls up the monster system details. The statue is level 20, which seems like a perfectly manageable target for him. He stays entirely calm, facing down the rocky opponent with zero fear. Now watch, things are about to get wild as he prepares his gravity fraction. With a sudden burst of speed, he rushes forward, completely dominating the battlefield. Despite the enemy's high level, he reads its movements and weaknesses perfectly. This lets him strike first, though he realizes the statue is incredibly tough. Its defense is exceptionally high, easily shrugging off his initial direct hits. The stone beast absorbs his attacks. It refuses to crumble under the pressure. He could win a long battle, but he wants to test something new. He activates his gravity fraction skill once more, pushing his limits. Charging forward at extreme speeds, he targets the core of the stone soldier. Utilizing the double gravity effect, he drives his blade straight through its chest. The statue splits right down the middle, cut clean by the sheer impact. He pulled this off by shifting gravity right at the moment of contact. Victory triggers a massive level up, flooding him with newfound strength. He starts planning how to distribute his newly acquired skill points. However, Ichinose realizes he only has enough points to upgrade a single ability. Trusting his gravity manipulation the most, he decides to invest everything there. He upgrades it to level 2 using 10 HP points, eager to see the results. Now he can control the direction of gravity as well as weight. Beyond just adjusting weight, he can steer gravity's pull in any direction. Applying this to himself will be incredibly useful for future battles. He spots his reward shining on the ground, a valuable magic crystal core. This item proves he defeated the knight statue. Ichinose considers heading back now. Still, he has plenty of mana left and plenty of energy to burn. As more monsters approach, he decides to keep testing his upgraded abilities. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning strikes. It obliterates another statue. It was Sho. Utsunomiya leads his squad deep on a raid. His companion shrugs, claiming. This easy win was expected after he one-shotted that magic-resistant beast. Karam points out that the stone statue had some solid defense against lightning, but that means nothing against raw, overwhelming destructive power. The arrogant leader scoffs, thinking managed gates are always this disappointingly easy. It is practically useless for farming experience points. They need a tougher dungeon. Stepping up to the shattered stone, Karam brings up that guild representative. She asks if he actually feels bad for treating the poor man so harshly. He admits the man is kind, but weaklings playing hero only get slaughtered. So laying out the brutal reality directly is actually a form of mercy. Sure, it feels bad, but it is necessary. His teammate remains pretty skeptical. Moving deeper into the ruins, Utsunomiya spots another massive statue ahead. But Karam hesitates, warning that the echoing footsteps sound way too heavy. He laughs it off, claiming different monsters simply vary in size. Oh boy, they are absolutely not ready for what steps out of the shadows. This giant is massive. There is absolutely no way this is just a minor variation. Even the proud leader has to admit this thing looks genuinely formidable. This stone knight is level 30, tall, menacing, but still just rock. Karam trembles, saying they have never fought anything this threatening before. But Utsunomiya finally connects the dots. Normal recommended monsters are absolute jokes. As elite Thunder Knights, their squad is leagues above any average adventuring party. His ego swells. He is completely convinced this threat is perfectly scaled for them. They will shatter this brainless stone hunk and clear it in record time. Suddenly, the giant stone golem grinds to life. His teammate panics instantly. Relax, the leader commands. It is 3 against 1. We have this. No matter its size or level, a slow stone knight is still just stone. Its attacks will be simple and sluggish, but then the golem strikes. The sheer power of the blow surprises him, but speed is what matters. This lumbering giant cannot possibly keep up with his lightning-fast blade strikes. He slashes, realizing this thing is way more durable than the regular trash. The unrelenting monster swings its massive blade. Utsunomiya feels a sudden chill. This heavy pressure is bad news. He calls for a temporary tactical retreat. But the relentless guardian has absolutely no intention of letting them escape alive. Fear grips him a second too late. A devastating blow sends him flying. How is this possible? The power gap is insane for just a few levels. Karam screams out in pure terror, but the battered leader yells back at her. Do not lose focus, stand your ground, and do not let it see your fear. The Titan keeps marching forward. In seconds, Karam faces its full wrath. A crushing strike sends her crashing down. Their other companion loses his mind. He lunges forward in a panic, but gets swatted down like a fly. The impact leaves him broken and unconscious. The leader watches in complete despair. This is all wrong. Everything was supposed to go perfectly. He stares up, wondering if dungeons were always this horrifyingly dangerous. He is a chosen one. Gritting his teeth, he unleashes his ultimate shockwave. His supreme lightning spell must destroy this monster once and for all. To solve all his problems, he claims even a monster like this cannot possibly resist. But reality hits hard. The beast seems to have a high resistance against his elements. Specifically lightning, which makes zero sense given the high firepower. Then things get worse. Utsunomiya watches in horror as the giant statue shatters his sword like cheap glass. Cold dread washes over him. Utsunomiya finally realizes he was dead wrong all along. He thought things could not get any worse, but his entire squad is completely wiped out. Now the Titan is free to strike. It slowly raises its massive sword toward him. The leader can only beg for mercy, sobbing that he cannot die in a place like this. Not only is Utsunamiya's sword destroyed, but his pride is shattered into pieces as well. As the enemy looms over him, he desperately pleads to be spared, begging it to let him go. Utsunamiya even drops to his knees in total defeat. Then, out of nowhere, footsteps approach. Before the heavy blade can fall, our protagonist rushes in, activating his gravity fraction. He strikes the stone beast before it can defend itself, but the monster hates that. It immediately turns its rage toward the newcomer. Ichinose, however, is fully prepared. Just as he figured, that opening strike barely left a scratch on the solid stone. Tears well up in Utsunamiya's eyes as he recognizes the young hunter standing before him. He remembers him as that weird kid from outside the guild with the bizarre class. He desperately screams out, "What are you doing? That thing is not a normal opponent." Ichinose is only level 16 right now, and he knows the fallen leader is telling the truth. This terrifying statue is level 30, meaning it might be way too much for him to handle. It is a unique monster that leveled up by devouring both adventurers and beasts, growing entirely too strong. Earlier, Ichinose decided to hunt a bit longer since he had plenty of mana remaining. That was his simple plan, but he certainly did not expect a massive boss to show up. Utsunamiya frantically screams at him to turn around and run as fast as he can. He warns that this stone demon completely wiped out his entire high-level party. Looking at the bodies, Ichinose knows it is true, but he does not flinch and unleashes gravity fraction. The Titan does not just stand there and immediately swings back with a furious strike. But that does not stop our hero. He moves right in and lands another solid blow. Before the monster can counter, Ichinose uses his skill to jump high and strike its head. Watching this unfold, Utsunamiya thinks he is dreaming. Honestly, would any of us believe this? He cannot believe a low-level rookie with a strange magic class is actually holding his own. Ichinose notes that the boss is surprisingly slow for its level. Still, there is a catch. He can easily throw off its timing using gravity manipulation, but landing a decisive blow is tough. The monster's defenses are far tougher than any ordinary stone statue. Pair that with their massive level gap, and the creature barely registers his attacks. On top of that, keeping gravity manipulation active is draining his mana pool rapidly. He knows he cannot keep this up forever. Dodging another heavy sweep, he makes a decision. It is time to take a massive gamble. He has no choice but to end this quickly. Despite his plan, Ichinose is visibly struggling to gain any ground. Watching from the sidelines, Utsunamiya's hope dies as he realizes Ichinose is barely scratching the armor. Our hero knows his gravity fraction is burning through his mana, but he has no choice. Without his active skills, he would be crushed instantly by this towering stone giant. Dragging the fight out will only get him killed. It is time to finish this. Ducking under a massive stone fist, he prepares his ultimate counterattack. In a flash of pure speed, he leaps high over the giant, landing right on its shoulder. Dodging the giant statue's sword, he faces his massive opponent, activates his gravity power, and leaps. He lands right on the statue's head. Watching this, Utsunamiya realizes something about his classmate's insane agility. The boy's body seems weightless. Utsunamiya figures it must be some kind of rare class ability. Up in the air, Ichinose triggers level 2 of his gravity manipulation. He didn't plan on testing it so soon, but suddenly he's standing completely upside down on the ceiling. He literally inverted gravity on his own body, since it's his first attempt. He's actually pretty impressed with himself. From this height, his next move is going to be massive. He doubles down, combining inverted gravity with an extra speed boost to drop like a meteor. He screams down at the giant construct, "It's way too late for you to run now." Our hero channels all that crushing kinetic energy into his ultimate attack. Barra de Meteoro, he strikes the statue's solid stone face with a devastating head-on collision. The stone titan explodes into dust, showering him with a massive wave of experience points. He shoots straight from level 16 up to 23, thanks to conquering such a high-tier threat. Taking down a monster, nearly double his own level, paid off big time. With the threat cleared, he cancels the skill and drops from his perch on high. Thanks to his fall resistance passive, Ichinose lands perfectly without taking even a scratch. He's incredibly glad he unlocked that specific safety net. Watching from the sidelines, Utsunamiya is speechless. This guy's strength is completely off the charts. Utsunamiya's lightning barely tickled that stone armor. Yet this weak-looking rookie just absolutely demolished it and saved his life on top of that. Why would Ichinose protect him, especially after Utsunomiya humiliated him in front of everyone. Talk about a bruised ego. Utsunomiya assumes Ichinose is trying to humiliate him back, showing him up by effortlessly destroying a boss that Utsunomiya couldn't even scratch. Breaking the tense silence, Ichinose walks over and casually asks if he's doing okay. Flustered and red-faced, the proud team leader can barely manage to look him in the eye. He mumbles a quick thank you, admitting that things almost got really ugly back there. A bit later, they head back to headquarters. The receptionist can hardly believe her ears. A level 30 monster in a beginner zone, and this brand new rookie took it down. She claims a solo victory like that is mathematically impossible, but Ichinose has proof. He pulls out a glowing dungeon crystal, presenting it on the counter with a smirk. That gets her attention. She admits the drop is highly unusual, but logs the achievement. With the paperwork processing, she looks at the gem and asks if he wants to sell. She can't do an official appraisal right now, but estimates its value at around 240,000 yen. Still, Ichinose isn't planning on parting with it just yet. Honestly, this rare crystal is his ultimate bragging right, and he wants to keep it. Right on cue, Utsunomiya struts back into the lobby. He's been searching everywhere for him. He wants to deliver a proper thank you, and apparently he brought a little gift. He proudly announces some amazing news. He's personally inviting Ichinose to join his squad. The legendary Thunder Knights. He says it so loudly that the entire lobby turns to stare. Whispers break out instantly. That group is easily the fastest-growing elite faction around. For a newbie to get scouted by them, he must be a literal prodigy. Utsunomiya flashes a smug grin, telling him he should feel incredibly blessed for this chance. He tells the kid not to be shy, since they are basically best buddies now. But Ichinose flat-out rejects the offer. The entire room instantly drops dead silent in shock. Rejection, the leader looks completely dumbfounded, stammering that he thought the rookie needed a team. But Ichinose just shrugs, plans change, and Utsunomiya's jaw hit the floor. Ichinose realizes that if he keeps grinding and leveling up at this speed, he might be able to enter that massive portal appearing soon, the Theater of Mad Dreams. He is targeting a unique drop there, a weapon of absolute destruction. Remnants of his tragic past life haunt him. He cannot mess up again. This time he needs a perfect strategy. Things are about to get serious. Later on, Ichinose heads back to the guild to swap some loot for cash. The crowd is instantly impressed. The receptionist asks if he really hunted. All this alone again, Ichinose calmly says yes, and that is not all. He also needs the paperwork ready for his promotion to rank D. The ranking system starts at F. From there, you climb. You hit E rank by choosing a class, but disasters require rank D. The receptionist points out that he must be at least level 25 to rank up, but Ichinose says he has reached it. She is stunned. He leveled up so fast, especially as a solo mage who lacks a proper party. Seriously, his growth speed is totally abnormal. She asks if his class is really that strong. Ichinose just confirms he is officially ranked D now. He knows his class is strong, but he is a former S rank. With years of future knowledge, he might be drawing too much attention, but he absolutely has to rush. Reaching rank D massively increases the number of portals he can enter. Having solid achievements also makes it easier to get invited. In a few days, the Theater of Mad Dreams portal will open, and Ichinose knows a legendary unique weapon is waiting inside. In his past life, the adventurer who got this weapon received a massive boost in power. Soon after, he became a notorious portal criminal, attacking and murdering innocent adventurers. That is why Ichinose must stop this guy from ever touching that weapon this time. To do this, he needs teammates to conquer this dungeon. Too many people just slow things down. Exactly, so he needs to choose carefully, starting with a duo. He needs someone who is highly compatible with a gravity user, a person tailored for the destination, and above all, someone who respects his solo achievements. Ichinose wonders if such a person exists. Time is running incredibly short, so he decides to scout potential recruits at the guild. Hours fly by. He wanders around doing nothing but searching. Nothing, absolutely nobody fits. This recruitment drive is a total bust. He anticipated that. Suddenly, he overhears a heated argument between two girls where one calls the other completely useless. Satsuki apologizes to AI, but AI snaps that apologies will not change anything. Ichinose senses the massive tension. AI coldly tells Satsuki she is fired. Desperate, Satsuki begs, promising to improve. Next time, but AI sneers that her power and efficiency are pathetic, and trying to improve a tiny bit is completely useless. She even demands Satsuki pay her back for carrying her all this time. Satsuki is utterly devastated by this, looking ready to burst into tears. Seeing this harsh clash between them reminds Ichinose of his painful past, bringing back some really unpleasant memories. It is hard to watch, but he knows he cannot interfere. He cannot risk his life by letting emotions pick his team, even after firing her, AI. She humiliates her, mocking her for choosing a trash, clumsy class with absolutely zero future, just like herself. She adds that anyone could tell this shaman class was complete garbage just by hearing its name, suggesting she should give up being an adventurer entirely. But hearing the word shaman immediately sparks our main character's interest. This particular class actually has the absolute best compatibility with a gravity user like him. Plus, she is incredibly useful against the Theater of Crazy Dreams boss. AI snaps at him, demanding to know what he is staring at and telling him to leave. Ichinose apologizes, introducing himself properly and explaining he is looking for party members. Seeing his D-rank registration card, AI quickly changes her tune. She mentions they have a sudden open spot, claiming he could be useful for them. But he completely ignores her pitch, focusing his attention entirely on Satsuki instead. Satsuki is stunned when he invites her to join, leaving AI fuming with rage. Being rejected like this makes AI furious, but he knows a shaman is too valuable. He cannot afford to let this chance slip away. AI keeps calling her totally useless. She insists he should join her party instead, while Satsuki quietly reviews his profile. Seeing he is D-rank, she mentions she has not even reached level 10 yet. Ichinose reassures her that the low level is fine because he truly needs her power. She still worries about being clumsy and getting in his way, but he insists. He offers to guide her, but she admits she lacks any confidence as an adventurer. He simply smiles, promising he will help her build up her confidence in no time. Even though she still feels totally worthless, his determination starts to sway her. Satsuki finally accepts, asking him to look after her if he is truly okay with it. AI scoffs at this scene, warning Ichinose that he will regret partnering with a shaman. Ichinose simply thanks her for the warning, keeping a calm, confident smirk on his face. He calmly notes that he actually knows a bit more about adventure classes than she does. In truth, a shaman is the perfect counterweight to cover all his gravity magic weaknesses. Having her by his side will make clearing the Mad Dream Theater a total breeze. With her assistance, securing that highly coveted unique weapon is basically guaranteed. Once they walk away, they finally introduce themselves to one another properly. He learns her name is Satsuki Kisaragi, but then he suddenly drops a total bombshell. He agrees that, yes, the shaman class is absolutely garbage at the moment. He points out his own class is also ridiculed, but says this trend will change. Satsuki asks if that is really true, and he nods, shifting focus to their destination. She immediately asks which reserved portal they are targeting for their leveling. But Ichinose replies that his target is actually a completely different, unreserved gateway. He wants to enter a brand new rift that is scheduled to open very soon. It is a level 30 zone, notoriously known as the Mad Dream Theater. Satsuki instantly pales, realizing the recommended level is massive and completely unexplored. Unlike the safe, reserved gates used for grinding, this rift is a total mystery. Because it just appeared with zero info, Satsuki says the raid is impossible. She is low-level with a trash class, but Ichinose has no intention of backing down. He promises to keep her safe, holding the front line so she stays completely out of danger. Thanks to studying every dungeon record in his previous life, he knows the theater perfectly. He looks Satsuki in the eyes, telling her with absolute confidence that the two of them are more than enough to clear this portal, begging her to trust him. She decides to trust him. He claims there is a specific weapon he needs from this portal. She first questions his claim that a new gate is about to open up. Ichinose keeps the details vague, but credits his prediction to a highly unique item. Satsuki remains completely skeptical, arguing that nothing can predict when a dungeon gate will form. Right on cue, emergency alerts start blaring from every single adventurer's phone nearby. And just like that, our boy is proven completely right. A massive dungeon warning triggers. The danger zone is located right in the adjacent neighborhood. Naturally, Ichinose is thrilled. Satsuki immediately asks if this is the exact gate he spoke of, and he confirms it. They plan their raid for the following morning. He knows this raid might take a full week. Still, the dungeon boss must fall. True to his word, they set out the very next morning. Satsuki is genuinely amazed they are actually doing this. Upon arrival, a massive operation awaits. The Demon Defense Agency has already secured the entire area. A high-ranking officer approaches them. She asks if they are registered hunters, warning that these beasts are highly unusual. Since the monster threat patterns look totally different, she requests they collect vital combat data. She issues a final warning, noting that casualty rates skyrocket in these brand new gates. Ichinose nods confidently, reassuring her that he understands the risks perfectly. Before stepping inside, Satsuki quietly asks if he truly intends to conquer this dungeon alone. He chuckles, admitting that if he revealed his actual goals, the guards would block him. Stepping through the barrier, Satsuki notes the incredibly bizarre atmosphere of this pocket dimension. He asks if she is scared. When she admits it, he feels slightly guilty for dragging her along. He promises to handle the heavy vanguard fighting and pull back if things get too chaotic. But Satsuki refuses to run. She insists she's going to pull her own weight. She claims she can handle close combat and is even willing to act as a distraction. Ichinose tells her not to push it, but he is genuinely excited to see her style. He points out that her most promising ability is a brand new technique she recently unlocked. It is called Mana Drain, a utility spell that directly siphons energy from her target. This makes it incredibly useful for drawn-out encounters and for fighting high-level foes. Even better, she can transfer that stolen mana to an ally, which perfectly supports his gravity magic. Since gravity spells cost a massive amount of points, this creates a brilliant team synergy. Honestly, this is completely broken. He can now grind dungeons forever without stopping. He can basically grind levels forever. However, Satsuki feels the spell is way too slow. She complains that its base efficiency is quite low compared to higher damage offensive magic. He just smiles, noting that this is classic rookie thinking at play. He instructs her to let him draw the aggro and keep the monster completely focused on him. This will create a perfect opening for her to blast it with her shaman magic. Right on cue, a level 26 circus bear blocks their path. Ichinose calls for action. She quickly channels her dark ball spell while the protagonist draws the beast's attention. With a solid impact, her spell strikes the creature directly, throwing it off balance. Spotting the opening, Ichinose instantly closes the gap, rushing the weakened target. Activating his signature double gravity, he leaps high above the bear and strikes its skull. After crushing it effortlessly, he playfully boasts that this level of enemy is a breeze. Suddenly, Satsuki notices her experience bar has exploded. She leveled up 3 times. Though thrilled by the speed, she secretly worries she is just dead weight to him. He reassures her that her utility magic will become absolutely vital very soon. Since they are official partners, her leveling up is just as crucial as his own. Satsuki is happy, truly happy. Her past team was nothing like this group. Since she finally leveled up, she promises to work much harder next time. Kino smiles warmly. He tells her to do her best but stay safe. Her shaky confidence worries him slightly, though he loves seeing her new motivation. Besides, it seems his battle instincts are still incredibly sharp. This gives Ichinose the confidence he needs to defeat the portal boss and claim the rare loot. In his past life, the guy who got this weapon turned into a monster. A ruthless portal criminal, but what if Ichinose steals that power first? That changes everything. Ichinose is determined to stop him before he gets that power. He believes that crazy Dream Theater incident is still far in the future. After all, they are only on day 2, so far so good. But wait, what he does not know is that the assassin is already active. In fact, the killer is already inside the portal hunting other players down. Even worse, he is absolutely loving every single second of the slaughter. Deflecting attacks effortlessly, Zeibai Kaoru warns his targets to pay closer attention. Otherwise they die. Just like that, a shiny level up notification appears. He laughs. Even these weaklings give decent experience points despite their level. He mockingly notes that they did not even have the will to fight. To him, hunting humans is way easier than fighting actual monsters. Meanwhile, Ichinose jumps into a new battle, deploying double gravity. His target is a jack-in-the-box. Satsuki watches in awe. Casting magic from the back is intense. She feels terribly guilty, though. To her, she is just a useless burden holding him back. Honestly, he could easily clear all these monsters completely on his own. But Ichinose reassures her, these weak enemies are really no big deal. Once you learn their patterns, it is simple. He repeats this advice. The shaman class is extremely strong. Satsuki quietens, then asks if they should head back soon, worried that their mana levels are running too low. He agrees. After all, gravity manipulation drains his reserves incredibly fast. He needs it to boost his stats, plus, guild rules recommend retreating once half your mana is gone, so it is time for a trick. Satsuki is confused, but soon, they spot a lone clown goblin. Kino grins, everything is ready. He tells Satsuki to use mana drain while he holds the monster down. Satsuki is highly skeptical of this weird plan, but she suddenly realizes the absolute genius of it: trap an enemy and siphon their mana. And they will basically have infinite mana points, and she can transfer it. This secondary skill lets her send those points to him. She finally understands. The theory is simple, but she asks him what it actually looks like. He shrugs. The monster just gets stunned. Without hesitation, she casts the spell. Afterwards, she feels a bit guilty. Ikino, however, got exactly what he wanted. Satsuki takes a deep breath, preparing to initiate the actual mana transfer. He tells her to stop acting so embarrassed because it is making him awkward. Regardless, she completes the transfer. Ikino checks his status. His mana went up from 16 to 25. Still, Satsuki thinks this method is terrible. He spent so long pinning a goblin down just to get 9 mana. Ikino suggests rounding up more goblins to completely drain their mana. Satsuki asks if they really have to repeat this 6 more times. He says it is the perfect way to grind, then strikes the goblins. By the 6th kill, his spent mana completely recovers, and even better, both of them level up. Satsuki admits he was totally right about this. They can keep clearing the portal without a single worry. Ikino explains that resting to slowly recover mana usually invites disaster in dark places. But against these weak monsters, Ikino is completely in his element. He could easily fight them 100 times without falling behind. Satsuki checks her status screen, stunned by their massive progress today. This speed is completely different from any run she has done before. Usually, the guild rules say that if you spot a stronger monster, you should never engage and run away as fast as possible. But Ikino has a completely different mindset when it comes to power. He says the guild has to teach caution, but avoiding risks limits you. Without testing your skills against higher-level beasts, you stay weak. Hearing his harsh logic, Satsuki realizes his words make perfect sense. They have pushed deep into the dungeon, grinding for an entire day. Now they stand before their target. Ikino points to the door. The boss of the Theater of Crazy Dreams is waiting right inside. Even the defense forces never expected this place to fall so fast. Hearing that a boss is waiting inside, Satsuki tenses up in pure anxiety. It is her very first time facing a real dungeon boss. Ikino asks if she is terrified, offering to head back to the entrance. She refuses, knowing her constant fear was why Aoe was angry with her. She is desperate to change and prove she can actually stand strong. If Ikino needs her power, she will give him everything she has. Ikino smiles at her resolve, knowing he made the right choice bringing her. With all the pieces in place, he tells her they are going in. Yet Satsuki hesitates, asking if this crazy strategy is their only option. Ikino nods, reminding her of what he planned from the start. Her shaman class is the perfect counter for this specific dungeon. Pushing the heavy doors open, they slowly step inside to face the nightmare. A horrifying clown stands waiting, identified by the system as Piasso Loco. While Satsuki trembles at the sight, Ikino stays completely calm as a veteran. If he clears this boss, he can finally claim the unique item from his past life. He tells Satsuki to hold the line while they stick to their plan. But in the shadows, a hidden watcher smiles, preparing to make a move. The boss charges, but Ikino leaps forward to take the aggro first. He yells that he will draw the aggro so Satsuki can keep her distance. Portal bosses possess massive health pools and rapid healing, making direct combat deadly. Levels alone will not win this fight. Ikino needs a clever trick. The boss lunges forward with zero hesitation, aiming straight for his head. But Ikino activates his half-gravity ability, instantly shifting his weight. He dodges at extreme speed, knowing he must maintain a distance of 1.5. Dodging to avoid the onslaught. Meanwhile, in the back, Satsuki starts the mana draining process, but as she does, the creepy clown immediately catches onto what Satsuki is doing. Satsuki freezes, totally terrified. Seeing this, the protagonist screams at her to run. The boss is using the gate, and she will get trapped unless she breaks through. while Satsuki flees. The mad clown pursues her, spitting wild flames to strike her down. But the protagonist leaps in, shouting at the clown to focus on him instead. Ichinose then charges straight toward the monster. The boss quickly shifts its focus. Right back onto him, which is exactly what he wanted, from a safe distance. Satsuki shivers, thinking those fast fireballs are terrifying. Maybe a retreat is a better idea. But the enemy has absolutely zero intention of letting them escape, using the gate. Repeatedly, Satsuki panic watches, deeply worried about the protagonist's safety. But he activates reverse gravity before the incoming fire can touch him. The clown believes it landed a direct hit, but Ichinose is already stuck to the ceiling. Perfectly safe, talk about a clever move, but the boss is still unfazed. Ichinose admits that was a bit too close for comfort. Still, everything goes exactly to plan. They worked this out beforehand, with Ichinose telling Satsuki not to rush in. The Theater of Mad Dreams boss possesses incredibly fast magic attacks. Get too close and you will turn to ash, but fighting from a distance gives them a real fighting chance, because this portal boss has one huge weakness. Back in the action, Satsuki triggers her mana drain. The clown absolutely hates this, flying into a blind rage. She worries she pushed her luck too far, trying to cover him, but Ichinose yells that their time has finally come. Satsuki quickly conjures a magic barrier, shielding herself completely from the enemy onslaught. Right then, the protagonist notices the clown is completely out of mana. Spamming teleports and massive fireballs eats up his energy fast. And this mad jester relies entirely on skills to fight. Seeing no choice, he abandons Satsuki to charge straight at Ichinose. The protagonist is ready. Launching himself high into the air, he prepares to unleash his devastating meteor strike skill. The impact is brutal. Ichinose mocks him, saying a clown without movement skills is just too slow. There is no running away now. Right on cue, Satsuki unleashes her own fury, firing off her signature dark ball skill. The blow connects hard. Seizing the opening, Ichinose activates double gravity, making his heavy sword strike absolutely devastating. The portal boss is officially slain. Just like that, both he and Satsuki level up, earning fresh skill points. Satsuki practically bounces with joy over their hard-won victory, but the protagonist warns that the portal is collapsing and they must move quickly. Anxious, Satsuki asks if they will end up getting locked inside forever. Ichinose tells her not to worry about that. It actually takes at least half a day for it to close and no new monsters will spawn. Satsuki blinks in surprise, having no idea. Suddenly, she spots the clown's body melting away. She asks what is happening. The protagonist smiles as his real target finally appears. It is an incredibly rare drop from the boss, the Crown Blade. This weapon is a total game changer, especially for a gravity user. Satsuki asks if this was his goal all along. He simply nods. The Crown Blade is a rank C boss drop. Satsuki asks if it is really that strong. Ichinose clarifies that it is actually incredibly strong. He explains its rank and attack power are just a bonus. The effects are what matter. It boosts the baseline of every single ability an adventurer has. This weapon is completely broken, a total balance breaker. That is especially true for gravity users, who usually leave openings during fights. It also solves the issues of mana exhaustion and rapid skill chaining. This legendary blade covers Ichinose's personal combat weaknesses incredibly well. Hearing this detailed explanation, Satsuki finally understands. In his past life, the previous owner reached rank A. That guy was a notorious adventurer, a deadly assassin, and a straight-up criminal. By claiming it first, Ichinose has successfully disrupted that dark future. It is a massive win, letting him kill two birds with one stone. Satsuki admits it is a great weapon for a gravity user, but she feels uneasy. She quietly worries that Ichinose will not need her assistance anymore. But he quickly reassures her, saying he still wants to hunt together. Even with the new blade, his mana pool still drains way too quickly. That makes her happy, though she still glares at the weapon suspiciously. She views it as her direct rival. Meanwhile, Ichinose prepares to distribute his stats. Since he leveled up, he knows he cannot be a jack of all trades. To reach the very top, he must hyper-focus on his primary strengths. He decides to pour absolutely everything into his specialized gravity abilities. Opening his system menu, he allocates the points and secures a massive level up. He upgrades both gravity magic and manipulation, unlocking a brand new skill. The system names it Super Gravity Orb, a massive addition to his arsenal. While he used to rely on basic manipulation, this blade makes casting much easier. Now he is eager to test his limits. This is where the real fun begins. Suddenly, a mysterious voice echoes, claiming they arrived a bit too late. The stranger notes that Ichinose has already claimed the ultimate prize. Seeing this, they admit he is incredibly strong. Ichinose grows highly suspicious. The timing is just too perfect. Did this adventurer hide using stealth skills? He figures the stranger was likely waiting for them to fail. They were probably just leeching information and observing the boss battle. It is a dirty tactic, but this kind of toxic behavior was common in his past. He looks closely at the intruder, trying to place their familiar face. There is definitely something recognizable about this guy. Suddenly, it clicks. Ichinose recognizes him as Zaid Kyoru, the original owner of the crown blade. He is the infamous adventurer assassin. Ichinose is completely stunned. In his past life, it took this killer a long time to clear this dungeon. Yet here they are, crossing paths right inside the boss chamber. He quickly concludes this guy has always been a filthy opportunist. His strategy was to wait for exhausted adventurers to finish the boss. Satsuki immediately senses the heavy tension and asks what is wrong. Ichinose tells her it is nothing, but Zaid Kyoru is already approaching. He asks if that unique weapon is the boss drop, requesting to inspect it. Ichinose calmly nods yes. Hearing this, the assassin instantly tags him as a total clueless idiot. He expects an easy, careless target he can put down with. A single strike. Once the boy is dead, he intends to enjoy himself with the girl. Zaid shouts a mock warning to watch his step. In the very next breath, the assassin lunges. He aims for a fatal strike, but Ichinose cleanly slips the blade, leaving Zaid sailing right past him. The killer quickly realizes the boy dodged, instantly pivoting to strike again, but now he has to dodge because Ichinose countered first. Our hero misses, his mind racing to find a different opening. He wanted to catch the killer off guard during the transition. But Zaid is just too blindingly fast. Besides, this guy's level is way higher than his and Satsuki's put together. Zaid mutters that this is highly unusual. He demands to know how the kid read his move. He figured they were just weaklings, but this brat seems to fight. All alone, Satsuki cries out in confusion, and Ichinose warns her that this guy is an notorious adventurer killer. He specializes in high-speed, lethal ambush attacks. Zaid sneers, realizing the boy somehow knows his entire profile. If you already know why I am here, he says, then we can skip the chit-chat. He points his blade and demands the kid hand over the legendary weapon. Do that and he might actually let him walk away alive. Ichinose smiles darkly. Criminals love closed portals because they leave absolutely zero evidence behind. He knows the killer never had any intention of letting them walk out of here. Zaid is genuinely shocked by the kid's sharp mind. Then he starts laughing. You have got some real brains and serious guts, he sneers before turning hostile. He wants to watch Ichinose cough up blood and choke on his own pride. Hearing this, Ichinose braces himself. Honestly, things are looking incredibly grim right now. Because in his past life, Zaid was a famous nightmare. A ruthless slayer who originally held the legendary crown blade. Ichinose realizes he should have anticipated running into the killer inside this portal. Judging by that first brief clash, Zaid is still far stronger than him. Satsuki notices his sudden hesitation and tries to step in, but Ichinose stops her. He warns her to stay back. Assassins thrive on sudden, high-speed strikes. They only need one opening to end a life. For a squishy shaman, this means instant death. Satsuki will have her throat slit the second she steps up. So he tells her to keep her distance no matter what happens next. Ichinose insists he will handle the fight alone, letting Satsuki face Zaid. It's a suicide mission. Her shaman class is totally countered by an assassin's vast experience, but here is the real issue that changes everything. Satsuki will be corrupted by Zaid's dark energy if he does not protect her. Driven by this, Ichinose steals his resolve and activates his half-gravity spell. They clash. Zaid admits the boy is skilled with a blade, but notes something critical. Unlike the assassin, Ichinose has never taken a single human life. This massive psychological gap gives the killer an absolute cold-blooded advantage. He aims to force an opening by aggressively ramping up the physical pressure. But the boy holds his ground, refusing to yield even an inch. The killer grows frustrated, realizing this easy target is actually a living nightmare. Zaibei realizes the kid's blade won't shatter, and his moves are being read. It makes no sense to the elite assassin. How is this possible? The lower-level opponent is actually matching him blow for blow. Watching from a distance, Satsuki knows Ichinose is more than just a genius tactician. He's incredibly powerful. Ichinose is thrilled his new crown blade is paying off. Thanks to this legendary weapon, his skill activation speed has shot up. He can fluidly chain gravity fraction and double gravity in a heartbeat. This lets him throw off attack timings while drastically cutting down on mana consumption. Otherwise, he'd be totally drained by now, annoyed by this stubborn defense Zai. Bei declares the playtime is officially over. Taking a massive breath, he exhales. To unleash his deadly poisonous needle skill, unbelievably, Ichinose still manages. To slip past the attack, Zai Bei stares in absolute disbelief. The kid actually parried the poisonous needle on his very first attempt. Without missing a beat, Ichinose presses the advantage and launches a fierce counterattack. The killer barely evades, realizing he is slowly being cornered by this onslaught. Forcing himself to stay calm, he strikes back with even deadlier precision. He attempts a sudden parrying thrust, but Ichinose shuts it down with double gravity. His dagger is flung away. Ichinose watches closely. The killer accelerates his strikes, aiming a flurry at his weak spots. Yet Zai Bei cannot anticipate the counter moves coming his way. Ichinose points out that this reckless speed actually makes his path predictable. Relying on raw speed is a mistake, since it reveals his trajectory way too early. Now watch this. Satsuki seizes the moment to strike from afar. She fires a shadowy orb straight at him, aiming to siphon his mana. The disruption leaves Zai Bei wide open, giving Ichinose the perfect opening. To strike, a direct slash tears across him, making the assassin hiss in pain. His eye is slashed. Ichinose fully understands what he is up against. Even if he has never taken a life, he will not hesitate to finish this. With gravity manipulation, tracking the killer's path is a total breeze. The real danger is his remaining mana, nearly emptied from the prior boss fight. Once his reserves hit absolute zero, his time is up, but he still pushes for a wild breakthrough. Zai Bei suspects a clever trick, yet he remains determined to press the attack. Cornered and desperate, the legendary assassin wonders why he is on the defensive. He knows that as time ticks away, Ichinose will fully decode his battle style. This kid shouldn't be this strong. Where did this insane power come from? The more he analyzes the situation, the more unsettling doubts begin to rise. Suddenly, he realizes Ichinose's gleaming sword is striking from his blind spot. To escape the lethal hit, Zai Bei frantically triggers his Shadow Step ability. Ichinose notices the wounded killer can still move, so he accelerates his tempo. The assassin senses that despite holding the lead, Ichinose is rushing too much. He's desperate for a quick win, likely fatigued from the boss encounter. He recognizes that the young warrior is remarkably gifted, a true future hero. But let's be real, potential only matters if you actually survive the night. Zai Bei has absolutely no intention of letting him leave this place alive. It's simply tragic luck that the boy crossed paths with a true apex predator. Zabe sneers. Ichinose simply shields Satsuki, planning his next move. Zabe cackles wildly, lunging forward without a shred of hesitation. Ichinose slips away just in time, allowing Satsuki to launch her dark orb. The assassin spots the magic and quickly sidesteps, immediately redirecting his blade toward Ichinose. Satsuki feels entirely invisible since the killer completely ignores her presence. Watching the fierce battle from a distance, she wonders when the tides turned. Meanwhile, Zabe pushes forward, stating that it is kill or be killed. To him, that violent struggle is the ultimate beauty of a real fight. He wants to savor every second, unlike Ichinose, who desperately seeks a quick end. Ichinose drives a strike forward, but Zabe easily scoffs at the near miss. But Ichinose pivots instantly, planting a heavy kick that sends a jolt through Zabe. The killer stumbles backward, yet he refuses to yield, mocking his opponent's actual strength. Ichinose realizes that adjusting his gravity even slightly makes acrobatic movements incredibly effortless. Suddenly, leaping and dodging feel as natural as taking a simple walk. Since Zabe relies entirely on raw power, dodging his wild swings seems easy. However, the seasoned killer quickly realizes that Ichinose is burning through his mana. Standing back, the assassin smiles, noting that the boy's secret trump card is fading. He correctly guesses it is some sort of physical enhancement skill. In the moment that power runs dry, it will mark the boy's absolute end. Zabe laughs. He can clearly see that the kid is at his absolute limit. Fending off the next strike, Ichinose checks his status and sees his mana running dangerously low. This next strike must finish the job, he resolves, launching himself high into the air. Zabe watches in genuine awe, knowing he cannot hope to reach that height. Floating above his target, Ichinose suddenly cranks up gravity to 10 times its normal force. Every last drop of his remaining mana is funneled directly into this final gamble. He unleashes a devastating meteor strike, slamming straight down toward his opponent. Zabe reels from the staggering power, desperately trying to brace himself against the impact. But his guard completely shatters, and the full weight of the blow crushes him. Ichinose collapses, utterly drained, while Satsuki looks on from the sidelines. She whispers that he actually did it, yet Ichinose looks far from relieved. Turning toward her, he quietly apologizes, saying he completely blew their chances. And then the worst happens. Zabe slowly rises back to his feet. The killer grins, mocking the boy because his energy reserves are completely dry. Sensing the mortal danger, Ichinose urges Satsuki to escape while she has the chance. He gasps that the killer lacks the stamina to chase after her now. Observing this selfless act, the assassin is deeply impressed by the boy's resolve. Fighting to his last breath after a boss raid just to protect a girl. To push beyond his limits, even while carrying an obstacle, is truly admirable. Zabe demands his full name, but the word obstacle cuts Satsuki deeply. She asks herself if she is just a burden, regretting not listening to AI earlier. If she had, Ichinose would never be struggling against a monster like this. Yet she recalls him saying that he truly needed her unique strength. That memory sparks a fire inside her, refusing to let her abandon him now. Standing firm, Ichinose spits back that he owes no names to a monster. Zabe merely chuckles, calling the defiant young warrior incredibly rude. Zabe admits Ichinose is the first hunter he respects, promising to remember his face. But before the killer can strike, Satsuki unleashes a dark magic ball. A direct hit, the spell stops the enemy's attack in its tracks. Right after the magic hit, Zabe is struck hard by Satsuki's staff as well. She pours all her remaining strength into the blow, hitting his blind spot. She rushes over. Ichinose asks why on earth she came back. Run now, but Satsuki stands her ground and refuses to flee. She remembers his encouraging words, proving that she can actually achieve things. Satsuki activates Mana Drain, transferring her remaining energy to Ichinose. Enraged by the attack, Zabe quickly targets her completely unprotected back. Too late, he unleashes his deadly impulse to strike her down. Satsuki notices him closing in, but someone else reacts even faster. Ichinose quickly thanks Satsuki for saving him, stepping up to fight. Too slow, he shields her as his aura flares with power. Zabe realizes the protagonist has fully restored his mana and gets furious. The assassin screams about cowardice, but Ichinose points out they are a team. With his mana fully restored, Ichinose challenges him to a final showdown. Ichinose strikes back with absolute fury, leaving Zabe reeling. He leaves absolutely no openings, landing heavier and more impactful strikes. Refusing to accept defeat, the desperate killer tries to use his dual knives. Satsuki spots his sudden movement and prepares to cast a defensive spell. Denied, Ichinose anticipates the trick and activates his gravity magic. He easily stops the killer, finding his desperate attacks to be painfully slow. Ichinose notes he could cast this even faster with his clown blade. Game over, the killer writhes, realizing he cannot win. Now watch as the gravity spell hits, trapping Zabe completely. The assassin cannot believe he is actually losing to a lower-level hunter. He knows the truth, portal laws are still severely underdeveloped. Even the Demon Defense Agency struggles to track them. Because of this, reporting on dungeon deaths is incredibly slow and messy. Since Satsuki is present, Ichinose decides to act carefully. He tells her he will keep watch over the assassin while she goes for help. She needs to contact the defense agency outside the portal. Since the boss is dead, all the portal monsters have vanished. She can leave safely. Meanwhile, a defeated Zabe just stares. The defeated assassin stares at him, realizing he gravely underestimated the boy. But looking into those eyes, he senses something terrifying. The sheer experience in those cold eyes makes him wonder who he is. Later, safe outside the portal, Ichinose reads the newspaper. Headlines confirm the notorious hunter serial killer has been apprehended. He is relieved they managed to wrap up this hunt without any casualties. Satsuki admits she expected the defense agency to interrogate them further. Ichinose explains that portal crimes are extremely difficult to prove. Without concrete evidence, the authorities will likely drop the investigation. Ever since portals appeared, the entire world has changed completely. Under such extreme circumstances, the government shifted into a ruthless dictatorship. Mass poverty followed these massive societal shifts, leaving the public struggling. Survival became an afterthought. Satsuki admits she knew portals were lawless. Still, she never expected to run into a literal serial killer. Ichinose asks if she is terrified, warning her this is standard for active adventurers. This is just the harsh world they live in now, but portal raiding is optional. It is not like portal raiding is the only way to make a living, Satsuki admits. She would be lying if she claimed she was not terrified. She thanks Ichinose for saving her life, saying she finally felt like a true partner back there. Brutal challenges wait in their future. She knows this, yet she feels happy. With Ichinose by her side, she wants to push forward. The main character gets pretty flustered, but replies that if that is the case, they will get along just fine. Hearing this makes Satsuki incredibly happy. Their official partnership is sealed, and honestly, it is about time. After chatting, the young man decides Satsuki is actually a genuinely kind person. Meanwhile, she quietly worries that she is terrible at expressing her thoughts. Her words always sound messy. She rarely acts selflessly for another human being. AI absolutely despised this selfish trait of hers. In fact, Satsuki even felt inferior to Ichinose, but staying near him might help her grow. Even though she considers herself completely useless, she gathers her courage. Satsuki asks if she can remain by his side, hoping it is no trouble. Ichinose gets instantly flustered. He knows her heart is in the right place. But her way of speaking makes him nervous. Still, he loves how she shines. Meanwhile, surrounding hunters are watching. They begin connecting the dots. These are the exact rookies rumored to have cleared a portal in one day. While capturing a serial killer, Ichinose notes the room suddenly got crowded. Out of nowhere, a familiar face approaches, muttering about people ignoring what is right in front of them. Sho Utsunamiya mentions that our protagonist is now the main talk of the guild. He adds that even though their identities are secret, their actions are viral. They are all over online videos, and you know the media loves a good mystery. They are desperately digging, but anyone looking at the local hunter registration list can easily piece it together. Sho thinks they are building something pretty incredible. He claims he always knew this young man could become a massive star. He offers Ichinose another chance to join his elite guild, the Thunder Knights, but then AI suddenly interrupts them. She explains she has been looking everywhere for Satsuki. The former team leader quickly apologizes, admitting she was far too harsh earlier. After a change of heart, she realizes she genuinely needs Satsuki. They're close friends after all, and cannot throw that away so easily. She desperately tries to win Satsuki back, highlighting her recent power gains. Satsuki has leveled up incredibly fast, and Aoi trusts her to cover her back. But Satsuki ignores her, telling Ichinose that the area is getting way too noisy. She suggests leaving. Ai and Sho are left awkwardly talking to empty air. The duo departs. As they walk, Ichinose decides to bring up Ai. He asks if it is really okay to just abandon her old friend like that. Satsuki quietly replies that if you look closely, Ai is just another selfish user. A stranger now, yet Ichinose understands her perspective perfectly. Satsuki points out that video of the incident is definitely circulating already. Ichinose says, "This is how some people survive streaming right inside active portals." He admits they are not his favorite crowd, but they make massive cash. Plus, those streamers actually know exactly how dangerous these dungeons can be. Satsuki gets nervous, worried people might hunt them down. She wonders if she should just unsubscribe from those channels, but Ichinose says it is her call. Far away, a popular streamer checks her phone. She hit 1 million views again. Her name is Hoshina Fujiwara, and she boasts to herself that she is the best. But then she spots a video of a mysterious adventurer capturing a serial killer. This crazy clip is easily pulling in way more views than her own latest stream. Her partner points out that trending news always blows up, so she needs something wilder. Clearing a high-level portal should definitely do the trick and win back her audience. Still, the real danger of doing that makes her feel pretty uneasy. Even so, Hoshina is not about to give up. Meanwhile, Satsuki asks Ichinose a question. She wants to know about her weapon. Ichinose explains a key rule of the system. Leveling up depends on fighting high-quality monsters, not just grinding weak ones. Because of this, the extra stat boosts from good gear are absolutely crucial. Satsuki needs strong equipment to cover her lack of firepower as a shaman. That is why he wants their next portal run to be highly profitable. Satsuki worries he is pushing too hard just for her gear, feeling kind of guilty. Ichinose tells her to stop worrying. Having a strong companion benefits him directly. Hearing him call her his companion makes Satsuki happy, and she happily agrees. This makes Ichinose silently wonder if she is too naive to spot a bad guy. Shaking it off, she changes the subject, asking where they can make this money. He smiles. He has already picked out a place called the Old King's Tomb. It is a newly discovered, untouched portal with an incredibly high drop rate. This is no ordinary dungeon. It is an incredibly rare type of portal. But here is the catch. Absolutely nobody else knows this tomb is rare. He only knows this secret because he memorized every dungeon record in his past life. The money from normal drops will be great, but he wants those rare, hidden items. Fortunately, since nobody else has this intel yet, he has a massive head start. This gives them all the time they need to sweep up every single treasure. Satsuki stares at him, feeling a bit uneasy about the evil grin on his face. Shortly after, they arrive at the portal and step inside to search for their target. Suddenly, Satsuki spots something highly unusual up ahead. They both freeze. Standing before them is their very first enemy, a towering creature called a White Knight. Ichinose instantly triggers gravity fraction, blasting forward at high speed. He leaves Satsuki behind, rushing straight in to strike the armored monster. With one single blow, the White Knight shatters and drops a glowing item. Satsuki watches him move, once again blown away by how cleanly he fights. But Ichinose knows standard blunt attacks will not work well on these bone monsters. He calls out to Satsuki, telling her to launch a magic attack instead. She gets the message and fires immediately. Meanwhile, Ichinose stays on the offensive. He unleashes his own shadow orb spell, combining his power with hers. It helps them destroy the White Knight, bringing in extra experience from a distance. Satsuki points out a dropped magic crystal, feeling incredibly lucky. The protagonist picks up a rare weapon called the relic knife of ancient times. Class D, he notices it is an excellent find that could easily sell. For about 400,000 yen, leaving Satsuki stunned, Ichinose mentions how tough it is to value weapons, since demand stays high even without special attributes. Satsuki admittedly knows very little about market values, so she asks him directly how much profit he wants from this entire run. The protagonist aims for 3 million yen. He explains that is the bare minimum needed for a decent weapon. Satsuki finds that goal totally wild, but Ichinose points out that special portals like this are rare, meaning they must grab the chance right now. Hauling loot takes time, so they intend to use their entire 3 days. Clearing the area and carrying everything out, Satsuki calculates that they need 1 million yen daily. You can't blame her for stressing out. She feels completely out of her depth here. Meanwhile, the protagonist hears a clash. He suggests checking it out immediately, prompting Satsuki to follow. Close by, a hideous mummy monster prepares to launch an attack. It is Hoshina, the popular streamer, battling the creature with her party. Her frontline knight charges forward, unleashing rapid slashes on the mummy. He calls out to Hoshina, telling her to finish it off. But instead of moving, she pauses to ask her manager if the camera is rolling. He nods. Instantly, her knight applies a rapid flame enchantment to her blade. With her glowing sword, she finally strikes. Mummy, the dry cloth wraps catch fire instantly, burning the beast to ash. Turning back to the lens, Hoshina cheerfully introduces herself to the stream, bragging about conquering this unmapped dungeon all on her own. She claims a single strike did the job, making it look incredibly simple. Watching from the shadows, Ichinose and Satsuki take it all in. Satsuki mentions recognizing her from online video platforms and gets a tiny bit excited. But when she glances over, she notices Ichinose looks completely unimpressed. By the fake display, she suddenly remembers his blunt warning from earlier about how much he despises online creators. Meanwhile, Hoshina wraps her recording session. Just then, her manager spots the onlookers. Nearby, Hoshina snaps at them, complaining that they are ruining her shot. She explains how much effort went into setting up this perfect camera angle, and she will not let random strangers spoil her content. She demands they step out of the way. The protagonist dryly notes her sheer confidence in claiming a one-hit kill, especially when her teammate did all the heavy lifting first. Hoshina retorts that star power requires a little showmanship. She turns to her manager, asking if the take was clean. He hesitates, admitting the recording might be difficult to save. Even with heavy editing, Hoshina sighs, complaining that cool footage is completely useless if random strangers are photobombing the shot. The protagonist tries to speak up, but Hoshina immediately cuts him off, hating his informal tone. She proudly announces she is Hoshina Fujiwara, the famous influencer, Ichinose. Ichinose apologizes for his harsh words, then introduces himself and his partner, Satsuki Kisaragi. He also expresses regret that her camera footage got ruined. Hoshina brushes it off, saying she will forgive him since they need good content. Ichinose asks why she streams inside portals, and her answer is pretty straightforward. It is all about the cash. She does it purely for the money. Portals are pure goldmine material, exciting, flashy, and incredibly easy to film. They draw massive sponsored deals and rack up insane amounts of ad revenue. Plus, it is a fast track to superstardom for any rising adventurer. Get popular enough and you are basically treated like a top-tier idol. But Ichinose warns her that this job is much more brutal. He tells her to dismiss her crew before she keeps talking so loud. Ichinose makes it clear that a gate of this level is no playground. Coming here without real resolve only leads to a very painful reality check. Fools who lack conviction always regret it later, which absolutely infuriates Hoshina. She snaps, complaining that he ruined her footage and still acts so smug. Satsuki quietly whispers that maybe he went a bit too far this time. But Ichinose stands his ground, insisting he is just giving her some honest advice. Her manager tries to keep her calm, but Hoshina is done playing nice. She knows she should ignore haters, but she immediately demands her camera back. Glaring at Ichinose, she says his big mouth must mean he has skills. Since he is so incredibly confident, she lays down a direct challenge. A simple bet, let us see who can harvest the most magic crystals. If she wins, he has to swallow his words and apologize on camera. She even promises to censor his face, so he will not be totally humiliated. But if he somehow wins, she will agree to any condition he wants. Oh, you know he is not backing down. Ichinose accepts without hesitating. With the terms locked in, they agree to meet at the entrance soon. They have exactly 3 hours. She warns him not to run away now. As her crew struts away, one helper asks why she made that bet. Hoshina smirks, crushing a cocky adventurer makes for the absolute best content. This drama is going to send their monthly views straight to the moon. Besides, his arrogance really got under her skin. She is genuinely pissed. How dare he say she lacks conviction? She is going to crush him. Meanwhile, on the far side of the dark dungeon, the grind has already started. Ichinose and Satsuki are already sweeping through hordes of monsters. A giant mummy leaps out, trying to ambush them with a heavy strike. But they are way too quick. Ichinose drops down right on its head. He hits a devastating meteor strike, instantly leveling up from the experience points. These undead are slow, so he uses inverse gravity to levitate above. Then double gravity slams them down, completely crushing the remaining monsters. They even score a decent D-rank item called the Ancient Gauntlet. Satsuki asks if he really needed to take on that silly bet. Ichinose admits losing on camera would suck, but he never plans on losing. Besides, if Hoshina suffers a massive defeat, maybe she will learn her lesson. But carrying this challenge through is going to take some serious work. Carrying loot gets tough if items keep dropping like this. Luckily, Satsuki has her own item bag. They press forward only to hit a dead end. Suddenly, a sphinx that was just standing there begins to stir, looking ready to strike. Satsuki spots the threat immediately. When they turn back, a massive gate has already sealed them inside. Ichinose realizes this is a portal gimmick, a special type of event found in some dungeons. Most are deadly traps, but some bring real rewards since they are in a rare portal. Ichinose sees this as a massive opportunity. Even with a powerful foe looming over them, the stone sphinx commands them to answer its riddles and prove their intelligence. It warns that questions will keep coming until they slip up. If they fail to answer at least 3 questions correctly, it will end their lives. Satsuki nervously asks if this thing is just a monster. Ichinose explains this is a test where failing the conditions means facing absolute disaster. He notes that the beast is incredibly high level, so they must be careful. Satsuki hates the sound of that, but Ichinose reassures her. he refuses to lose a battle of wits. The Stone Guardian prepares to speak. It demands to know the total experience. Required to climb from level 1 to level 10, Satsuki has absolutely no clue how to calculate that, but Ichinose confidently answers 45. The Sphinx accepts the answer. Ichinose smiles. He did thorough research on these game mechanics during his past life. Time passes, and the statue is already firing off its 19th question. It describes a magical beast with 3 faces and 4 legs, but before it even finishes, Ichinose shouts the answer. It is the scary doll. He recalls the Sphinx promised to keep going until he failed, but seriously, will this go on forever? The stone face looks visibly annoyed. Satsuki nudges him, saying he should just get one wrong on purpose, but the Sphinx asks its 20th riddle, what monster secretes green slime? Ichinose freezes. He knows a dungeon with green slimes has not even been discovered yet. You can only craft one with alchemy. He calls out the cheap question. The statue is shocked. He actually knew the answer. It has no choice but to deem him brilliant. With that, the exit gate finally grinds open. Ichinose sighs, thinking those trick questions were pretty low blows, but Satsuki points at the Sphinx, warning him that something weird is happening. He looks closer and gasps. A rare item dropped, a rank B storage ring. This thing is highly sought after and incredibly rare. Satsuki asks if it is worth much. Ichinose explains that if they find the right buyer, it could easily fetch 10 million. Satsuki nearly chokes on her breath in shock. Ichinose realizes that for an item this valuable to drop, the portal rewards must scale directly with the number of correct answers. Satsuki speaks up with a smirk. She asks if he still believes he can win their bet. He confidently answers that with this storage ring they are completely set. In fact, things just got a whole lot easier. Hunting and looting is now a breeze. Taking down ordinary dungeon monsters is child's play. He knows White Knight's pack a heavy punch, but it means absolutely nothing to him if he creates an opening for Satsuki to unleash her magic. They will crumble instantly. Slow-moving mummies are easy targets for gravity manipulation. Meanwhile, Satsuki's mana drain works wonders. That helps immensely. Just a bit later, Ichinose reaches level 33. Everything is going perfectly. Rare dungeons always drop the best loot. He even gathers some junk knives to hoard in his inventory. Talk about extremely convenient. With 6 magic crystals gathered, they have easily won the bet already. Now he is focusing on making cash since there is plenty of time left. Elsewhere, Hashina and her party celebrate a hard-won victory after a fight. These mummies are absurdly strong, but her teammate remains skeptical. They only cleared 2 targets, which is far too slow for comfort. Unexplored portals require real speed, or they risk failing completely. He worries if the others are winning. He asks Hashina what the plan is if they somehow end up losing. She casually jokes about paying them off to fake their own defeat. But faking video content is dangerous. Suddenly, Satsuki and Ichinose appear. He mockingly asks if she has enough free time to stand around loafing. Hashina demands to see his crystals, offering to forgive him now. Instead, Ichinose opens his warehouse, spilling a mountain of loot. Hashina gasps in shock. She cannot believe her eyes. Can you blame her? Staring at the endless crystals, powerful items, and that rare ring. Ichinose just grins. He repeats her words back to her. He will forgive her if she begs for mercy right now. Furious, she snaps that the match is far from over yet. Satsuki wonders if Ichinose is teasing their rival a bit too much. He admits he got slightly carried away while trying to stir things up. Hashina is not having fun. She is genuinely deeply concerned. Ichinose hopes she does not do anything stupid to catch up. Satsuki asks if he hates these online portal streamers. He explains it is not about them taking dungeons lightly. Adventuring is deadly. You risk your life every single day. It is not a game. Lacking serious determination will only lead to disaster. Massive regret awaits those who treat this work like a hobby. Meanwhile, Hashina is desperate for a miracle to beat him. She hates losing, especially when comparing their raw numbers. Her teammate warns that their mana supplies are critically low. Hashina knows they must conserve energy, but she refuses to retreat. She cannot retreat now. Her stubbornness is fueled by trauma. We flash back 8 years ago, when portal outbreaks constantly ravaged the world. As a young child, Hashina watched her father die a brutal death. He died protecting her little brother from the horrific scene. All she could do was grab his hand and run. Screaming in terror, they eventually reached a refugee shelter. There she met Kyuon, one of the nation's 5 elite rank adventurers. Despising her own weakness, she vowed never to flee again. Driven by those painful memories, she trained herself to the bone. It even made the news, shocking her completely. She truly believed she could become someone's source of courage during such dark tragedies. She never thought she could be as strong as that legendary adventurer, but she still wanted to inspire the people she could reach. Back in the present, she refuses to let anyone call her someone. Without real resolve or conviction, Hashina is determined to make Ichinose apologize. Since she hasn't gotten any good footage yet, maybe a giant monster is exactly what she needs. Her main goal now is capturing a massive beast on camera, even though her teammates keep telling her it is a terrible idea. Just as she considers turning back, a monster's roar echoes. She runs toward it, hoping it is something she can actually handle. Instead, she finds an adventurer clinging to life. This poor guy tried fighting the level 40 necromancer pharaoh, the boss of the ancient king's tomb portal. Hashina's expectations crash. She never expected to run into the boss, and there is no way she can beat it. Her companion warns that someone must have lured the beast out while fleeing. They need to run immediately because they are completely outclassed. Hashina seems to agree, thinking the beast won't follow them down a tight path, but then she spots a young girl begging for her life. This painful sight triggers memories of her own family tragedy, where she hated being so powerless and only able to run. Now she finally gets why that hero inspired her so much. She refuses to spend her life running and begging for help, so choosing to stand her ground, she rushes to save the girl, yelling for her team to retreat. She blocks the monster's heavy strike just in time. She promises to hold it off, urging the girl to escape. The girl flees, crying out her thanks, but the moment she is gone, the boss strikes again. Suddenly, Hashina's manager rushes back into the fray, shouting that he refuses to abandon her. When she asks why he came back, he tells her that he is her #1 fan. He simply couldn't leave her behind. He also admits he cannot fight, but he can at least act as a decoy. He wants her to run while he takes her place, but Hashina stands frozen as her teammate collapses, trying to shield her. Desperate, the manager conjures a protective magic barrier. It is supposed to save them, but the boss's incoming strike is so overwhelming that it shatters the shield in a single hit. Hashina instantly realizes she lacks the strength, speed, and everything needed to be a true adventurer. This is a high-rank portal boss. Honestly, they are in massive trouble. Looking up, she sees the next attack coming. Terrified, she completely gives up, but at that very second, Ichinose appears, scolding her for being incredibly reckless. He immediately counterattacks, shielding the girl from the devastating blow. With his inverse gravity skill active, he saves her life. Shocked, Hashina asks why he did it. Ichinose admits he knew she would do something incredibly stupid. He also heard from a running survivor that she was in deep trouble. Ichinose reminds her of his warning. Fighting without real resolve only leads to regret. But back then, Hashina had bet that if she proved him wrong, he would have to apologize. Smiling, he admits he lost that wager, completely taking back everything he said about her lacking conviction. Oddly enough, he says this while casually hanging from the ceiling, but as he holds, he suddenly realizes the monster below is gearing up for another strike. Dropping back to the ground instantly, he activates his gravity fraction skill. He launches a counterattack, desperately shielding Hashina in his arms. This clever skill manipulates local gravity, softening the impact of those deadly spear blows. Survival is the only option. Luckily, Satsuki provides backup from afar. She hurls a shadow ball directly at the massive beast, but it shrugs it off. The hit lands perfectly, yet the monster does not even flinch. Ichinose realizes they cannot escape while carrying 2 severely wounded teammates. Things look incredibly grim. This creature is a high-rank portal boss. Even with the crown blade boosting his gravity powers, this boss is a different beast. Cheesing this fight like they did with the mad clown is impossible. Their chances are terrible. Still, Hashina refuses to abandon her team. She feels responsible. Hearing this, Ichinose calmly tells her not to worry. He definitely prefers easy victories, but he does not mind a brutal challenge either. Grinning through the tension, he orders Satsuki to restore Hashina's mana immediately. He plans to draw the boss's attention while Hashina recovers her magic. As a magic swordswoman, she can cast crucial buffs in battle. He figures she might even have healing spells stashed in her arsenal. While he buys precious time, she can patch up their wounded allies. Using Satsuki's shaman-class mana transfer, they can slowly rebuild their strength. Satsuki channels the energy, boosting Ichinose's speed but cutting his attack power. Low damage is fine for now, since his main goal is just drawing aggro. But let's be real, the level gap between them is way too massive. He simply cannot keep running forever. Suddenly, one of Hashina's fallen teammates manages to cast a spell. A warm support buff wraps around Ichinose, giving him a much-needed boost. They beg him to protect Hashina, and he promises he will do exactly that. Sensing a sudden spike in danger, he barely dodges a lightning-fast strike. Massive size combined with terrifying speed, it is a deadly, devastating combo. This must be its ultimate attack, and he has to watch it closely. Nearby, the battered manager slowly blinks open his eyes, shocked to be breathing. His limbs feel heavier than lead, but his immediate thought goes to Hashina. He weakly looks around for her and spots Ichinose standing right in front of the beast. Stunned by the boy's incredible speed, he realizes he cannot waste any time. He reaches for his camera, desperate to capture this epic battle on film. As Ichinose unleashes his gravity spells, the manager records every breathtaking moment. The combat footage looks unbelievably clean, like a deadly, graceful dance. Yet Ichinose knows his speed comes entirely from abusing gravity manipulation. In reality, he has barely scratched the boss. Soloing this thing is impossible. Right then, Satsuki successfully triggers her reverse mana drain on Hashina. Energized by the rush of mana, Hashina breathes a quick sigh of relief. She immediately casts her healing magic, declaring she is ready to rejoin the fray. Satsuki jumps in right behind her, refusing to let them fight alone. This sudden shift gives Ichinose a tiny glimmer of hope, but still, dragging this battle out against a high-tier boss is a death sentence. So he needs to take this monster down fast. The enemy keeps throwing out attacks, but Ichinose easily dodges every single one. Next, Ichinose gets right in its face, fighting head-on. Satsuki watches in sheer panic. Terrified her teammate is cornered. As the statue locks onto him, Ichinose unleashes gravity fraction, instantly altering the massive creature's weight. He then hurls a nearby statue straight at it, forcing an opening. Quickly, he tells Satsuki to strike the boss's face. She immediately responds, activating her magic ability Dark Orb and blasting the Sphinx, but watching from a distance she realizes her strike did 0 damage. Ichinose calls out that it is fine, because heavy defense always means there's a vital weak point to protect. Suddenly, Hashina lunges from its blind spot, ready to strike, but the stone giant reacts instantly, swinging wildly and forcing her to retreat. Hashina gasps, realizing those forearms leave absolutely no openings, and she cannot approach without getting spotted. Still, she notices the beast tolerated Ichinose's direct frontal assault, suggesting it actually prefers close-range brawls. Right then, Ichinose promises to create a perfect opening. For her, yelling to shatter its mask with her magic. See magic. Swordsmen possess a skill called Break, which takes time to charge but can pierce through even the thickest defenses. Hashina hears the plan, but she knows creating a gap is easier said than done. How on earth will he bypass that monster? Ichinose knows the necromancer. Pharaoh's 4 massive arms are its main threat, but disabling them changes everything. Its patterns are like any standard beast, but wait, there is more. The giant has a massive weakness. Armed with this, Ichinose casts a gravity link. This binding magic usually locks a target down, but he targets the beast's multiple arms. Normally, the creature could shatter this restraint easily, but its awkward shoulder structure prevents it from generating leverage. This clever tactic only works due to its massive frame. Witnessing this incredible display, Hashina realizes her moment has arrived. She quickly charges her magical energy, preparing her ultimate break skill. Both Ichinose and Satsuki watch intently, holding their breath. For the impact, right on cue, a loud crack splits the mask, which drops away to expose its hideous hidden face. Ichinose yells that the weakness is open. Hashina recoils, asking what is wrong with its face. Ichinose just tells them to end this while the monster is still pinned. He immediately leaps toward the giant using reverse gravity, but as the boss moves, Ichinose recognizes its defensive stance. It is preparing a desperate, all-out power strike. Our hero anticipated this exact reaction if those arms got pinned. And the biggest flaw of this strike is it forces its head down. Ichinose mutters that it is over, launching forward for a decisive blow with his meteor strike skill. The massive beast takes the impact of his attack head-on, collapsing to the floor instantly, the ancient king's portal. Boss Tomb is officially conquered. Best of all, Ichinose even levels up and earns more skill points right after. Hoshina casts a healing spell on the injured party while the grateful manager thanks them. Satsuki begins studying the fallen. He searches the fallen enemy and spots a dropped weapon, the cursed king's staff, rank. See, Ichinose points out that rare loot normally drops from bosses, and this time it is a staff. He hands Satsuki the weapon, saying it fits her perfectly, though he feared clearing the boss would kill their quick profits. Still, the drop helps. Satsuki asks if she should really keep the staff, since she already got great gear from the Mad Dream Theater. Ichinose explains that Hoshina and her group helped too, so they must share now. But Hoshina tells him not to worry at all, since he saved them. She even wants to give him her crystals and weapons. Just like that, Ichinose steps in, reminding her that he lost their bet and as promised, he will take back his harsh doubts about her. He admits she is a determined adventurer. She nods, glad he finally knows that. But Hoshina's sharp tone leaves Satsuki feeling somewhat uneasy. Ichinose comments that being a hero does not require crazy stunts like this. Her manager disagrees, calling an adventurer's life highly unstable. Ichinose agrees, but notes that at their rank, they should make a decent living. The manager explains Hoshina supports her mother, whose leg was badly injured during the portal disaster, along with 5 younger siblings. It is a heavy burden. With her father gone, playing the protective eldest sister is incredibly exhausting. Too much detail. Hoshina snaps at the manager for revealing her personal family life. Hearing this, Ichinose offers an apology, feeling guilty for sounding so arrogant earlier. She shrugs, explaining she did not choose this path purely out of desperation. She knows people live in fear of dungeons, and she wants to bring hope. By fighting to make people smile in her own way, Ichinose smiles and says, that is a beautiful goal, and he will cheer her on from now on. Embarrassed by his sudden praise, Hoshina blushes. Soon they meet the guild staff to file a report, then they leave the dungeon. Hoshina asks her manager if their video recording gear is functioning properly. He nods, confirming he captured clean footage of Ichinose fighting at superhuman speed. The lack of camera glitches is a relief, which puts a bright smile on her face. Still, the manager warns they are low on crystals, making future shoots tricky. Survival is great, but the manager knows their budget is going to get tight. He wonders aloud if they should have just accepted the magic crystals from Ichinose. But Hoshina flatly refuses, saying she refuses to accept any form of charity or pity. She immediately asks if they have any leftover salvage to use. Her manager looks over the camera and realizes something crucial. The only high-quality action shot he recorded was Ichinose's insane battle. Later on, at the Marima branch of the Adventurers Guild, rumors start to spread. Bystanders whisper about the rapid rise of Satsuki and Ichinose in the ranks. Check this out. Satsuki rushes over to show him a crazy video. Ichinose suggests they should consult an actual data analyst for real intel. He looks closer. Suddenly, he realizes what the viral clip is actually about. The footage is Hoshina reporting on the sudden arrival of a mysterious, overpowered expert. The expert is him, and the viral clip is racking up massive view counts. The comment section is overflowing with praise, making the low-profile fighter sweat. He tries to hide his emotions, but he cannot help enjoying these reactions. He wondered why people stared at him lately, concluding it is because of this video. Satsuki says it has not even been a day, and the clip is viral. It hit 1 million views, just as expected from her teammate. Meanwhile, Hoshina is home. She checks her results, fully satisfied and calling herself the absolute best. Suddenly, a notification about Ichinose pops up on her phone. They had exchanged contacts to share information, so she quickly answers the call. She picks up, asking if his quick call means he became her fan. Instead, the protagonist demands to know why she made a video about him, without warning. She replies that they agreed if she won, he would let her make a video. But if he really dislikes it, she can delete it. Then, she asks him a question. Does he have any idea how hard it is to be an older sister these days? Ichinose says he just wanted to complain a bit, and Hoshina understands. That is perfectly fine. She then suggests a new idea since he gets so much attention. She wants them to make a video together, but Ichinose immediately hangs up on her. Satsuki notices Hoshino was still trying to speak when he cut the call. Ichinose simply tells her he will act like nothing happened, but his mind is elsewhere. At this rate, he will get the rare item he gave up on in his past life. The coveted Ring of Wisdom. If Ichinose gets his hands on it, everything could change. He could rewrite destiny. At the guild, the receptionist looks over his profile. She confirms the protagonist is above level 35 and possesses an outstanding record. His adventurer rank rises to C. Satsuki is highly impressed by her teammate. She praises her partner, and Ichinose reassures Satsuki that she will promote soon too. Everyone nearby is stunned. He is the fastest person in history to reach this rank. Defeating higher-level opponents makes leveling up incredibly fast, though it is highly dangerous. If an adventurer lacks experience and proper knowledge, it is almost impossible. Satsuki notes that rank C adventurers are highly respected by everyone around them. She wants to do her absolute best to follow his incredible example. Hearing this, Ichinose says he wants to push all the way to rank B. He aims to reach it by the end of the month, completely stunning Satsuki. Reaching rank B in 1 month is considered a 1 in a million feat. But Ichinose explains there is a crucial item he absolutely must obtain. It is locked in a zone you cannot enter unless you are rank B or higher. A high-difficulty portal known as the Illusion Library holds what he needs. He needs a drop from this portal's boss, the coveted Ring of Wisdom. Satsuki asks if he is targeting a legendary boss drop that remains undefeated. She wonders if it is that rare item. The protagonist calmly nods. He is fully focused on getting the Ring of Wisdom right now. He believes this item holds the key to the root of the portal phenomenon. Satsuki is amazed. There is a strong chance the ring has powerful hidden effects. In his previous life, its exact whereabouts became a complete mystery. It vanished before anyone could research the rumors surrounding its immense power. Rumors claimed it held the truth behind the devastating portal disasters. Given the tight schedule, it might be pretty difficult, but he wants to try. However, he worries he is just dragging Satsuki along on his crazy quest. He needs her help to reach his personal goals, knowing it will be pretty difficult alone. But before he can finish, Satsuki cuts in and eagerly agrees. She points out that Ichinose has already done so much for her. He deeply thanks her, but admits reaching rank B within a month is tough. Satsuki tells him that having key achievements is much more important. He tells her not to worry at all about that. He already has a complete, solid plan to clear portals and stack up achievements. They even run straight into a wild tribe party and their boss. They easily steamroll the level 32 red troll without breaking a sweat. After that, they target a level 30 boss at the Lake of Sirens. With a single meteor strike, he easily wipes out the entire crowd. He does the exact same thing to a level 36 boss next. They clear 3 whole portals in just 2 weeks, surprising his companion. He explains that while these bosses hit hard, their movements are simple. They also do not possess any highly advanced special abilities yet. That is why he targeted these easy portals first of all. He did his research thoroughly. Now he successfully holds 5 distinct portal achievements above level 30. With these achievements, he expects to rank up. Let us see what happens. Walking in, the receptionist agrees his application looks highly promising. Gathering so many accomplishments in such a short time is almost unheard of. He officially requests the promotion. But upgrading requires a strict inspection process taking several days. And of course, someone has to crash the party right now. An arrogant veteran cannot believe a mere kid is getting promoted. This guy is a contracted adventurer working directly for the guild. Elite hunters with massive achievements get special deals to handle major operations. They manage active portals and respond to dangerous outbreaks. Their influence here is absolutely massive. Naturally, this veteran is highly skeptical of our main character. The receptionist mentions that Ichinose is already near level 40. Plus, he already conquered multiple intermediate-tier dungeons. The man scoffs at a skinny kid defeating dungeon bosses. He spent 7 long years grinding just to reach rank B status. As the very first rank B in this branch, his pride is deeply wounded. Suddenly, some random teenager shows up to challenge his legacy. Clearly, a highly problematic rival is watching him. The veteran loudly declares he cannot accept a rookie with under a year of experience. This is Oga, one of the elite contracted rank B adventurers in this branch. Backing down now will completely ruin his chance at a promotion. Requests are strictly tied to his registered residency. There is no running away from this confrontation. Fortunately, he has got Satsuki and some powerful leverage on his side. Turning to face the angry man, he calmly demands a proper, logical explanation. Oga scoffs and points out his ridiculously short time spent inside portals. He sneers that portals are no place for kids, and rank B shouldn't be handed out so easily. Then he barks at Ichinose. Is he trying to mock real adventurers? Satsuki looks completely embarrassed just listening to him. Onlookers quickly gather, instantly feeling bad for the young kid facing the bully. But Ichinose stays calm, noting the minimum age for adventurers is 17. He asks Oga if he knows how many 17-year-olds have reached rank B. Oga grunts in confusion, but Ichinose notes portals appeared 15 years ago. In that time, 6 young prodigies climbed to rank B within a single year. So he asks, is Oga seriously claiming all of those promotions were just mistakes? Defeating high-level beasts is the easiest way to rank up quickly. The kid points out his own stats easily meet the official requirements. If Oga wants to reject him, he needs a real argument. He tells the veteran straight up, he needs a much better explanation than that. Sure, portal laws and regulations are still brand new in this world. While experienced voices matter, they must also look at actual facts. Rules simply cannot be built entirely on one person's feelings. After all, actual guidelines are built on past achievements, not ego. That solid logic is exactly what guild policy should be built on. Hearing this verbal beatdown, the receptionist can't help but agree. Satsuki is completely amazed. Her partner is totally outclassing a veteran. He has all the charisma and facts on his side. The crowd whispers that Oga just got totally schooled by a kid. Furious, the old-timer vows to make this brat regret ever opening his mouth. He turns to the receptionist, demanding to know the kid's class. She nervously reveals Ichinose is level 38, and his class is Gravity User. Gravity User, Oga has never even heard of such a rare specialization. He assumes it's just some backline magic class that got carried by a vanguard. Ichinose notes that refusing a promotion out of spite is pretty petty. Honestly, rejecting a legitimate application on a whim is incredibly unprofessional. But Oga sets a condition: he will personally test the kid's worth. He challenges Ichinose to meet him in the training arena if he has guts. Without hesitating, the young protagonist accepts the challenge. Satsuki follows him, and a curious crowd gathers to watch the clash. Oga promises to approve the promotion if the kid survives their duel. But the crowd is worried. Oga has a brutal reputation in sparring. Word is he has left 2 rookies near death in past mock battles. This testing excuse is just a cover-up to legally beat him down. Staring across the arena, Oga sneers that messing with him was a fatal mistake. The kid is only level 38, while Oga sits at level 47. On top of that, magic users are completely helpless up close. He thinks the boy is just arrogant after being carried by others. As a beast warrior, Oga can channel feral power directly into combat. In terms of level, experience, and class, he completely dominates. He doesn't just want to win, he wants to permanently end the kid's career. He wants him so broken, he can never step into a portal again. Oga relies on raw stats, definitely not an easy opponent. He cannot take this fight lightly. It is time to spend those saved skill points. Boosting his gravity manipulation gives him much better physical control. He wanted to save those points, but he has no choice. Right before the fight begins, Oga spots him leveling up his skills. Oh, pretty calm, Oga sneers, adding that accidents always happen in mock battles. Basically, he is warning Ichinose to watch his step. Ichinose politely thanks him for the warning and for letting him participate. Oga just chuckles, writing the kid off as totally naive. He wants to show the crowd what happens to fools who cross him. Today, Ichinose is going to learn exactly how death feels. Cocky as ever, Oga tells the kid to attack whenever he is ready. He even promises to restrict his own high-tier skills during battle. But for Ichinose, anything goes. The public execution starts now. He can barely hold back a laugh, already tasting absolute victory. Meanwhile, Ichinose quietly readies himself, activating his gravity fraction. Oga still assumes the kid is just a weak, inexperienced mage. Everyone knows squishy magic users stand zero chance in close quarters combat. None of those weak spells will ever reach him. It is lessons time. But Ichinose has absolutely no intention of losing this. He bursts forward at blinding speed, leaving Oga completely frozen in shock. How is he so fast? This speed makes absolutely zero sense. As Ichinose leaps straight at him, Oga scrambles to adjust his stance. But before he can even react, the kid is soaring high above. Right then, Oga realizes his balance is completely thrown off. Ichinose strikes hard with no mercy, landing a direct, devastating hit. The heavy impact draws actual blood, but Oga refuses to give up. He mocks the knee kick combo, but the crowd is already gasping. They can't believe a rookie is keeping pace with a veteran. Some spectators assume Oga is going easy since he has not used skills. But on the inside, Oga is sweating bullets. Things are spiraling. He clawed his way to be rank through years of brutal grind. Yet this kid is completely shutting down every single move he tries. Talk about an awkward turn of events. The bully is becoming the joke. Oga is getting humiliated by someone younger and lower leveled. He cannot accept this, but Ichinose tells him he is dead wrong. Gravity magic is easily the strongest class when it comes to stats. It lets him manipulate physical laws without draining his entire mana pool. Because of that, he does not feel inferior to any opponent. Honestly, fighting without using skills is just a massive sign of disrespect. Even Zabe showed more honor in combat, and he fought way better. Ichinose does not even feel any real killer instinct from this guy. Since Ogre is not even trying, Ichinose decides to end this quickly. He lunges forward, this time activating his double gravity skill on impact. Ogre reels back as the kid's blade suddenly feels 10 times heavier. Ogre realizes Ichinose isn't just fast. Suddenly, the kid is gone. This shouldn't be possible. He frantically scans the arena, wondering where the boy went. He never noticed Ichinose hovering right above him, dropping down behind his back. Sword pointed straight at Oga, Ichinose had actually lightened his own gravity mid-strike. The moment he hit Oga, he used the recoil to fling himself backward. Slipping directly into Oga's blind spot made it look like a complete vanishing act. To Oga, he just vanished, but the distant crowd sees everything clearly. This newcomer is totally crushing a B-rank adventurer. Even Satsuki is incredibly impressed. But Oga isn't laughing. He snaps, telling Ichinose to stop playing around. He yells that he won't accept this. Ichinose actually wanted to end the match here. But looking at his opponent, he sees Oga has no plans of stopping. Oga glares with pure, murderous intent. Unleashing his Beast Claw skill, he lunges forward. The strike tears right through the young warrior's defense. Ichinose isn't hurt, but he definitely lowered his guard too early. Ogre is shocked that the kid still blocked his sudden, dirty strike. Watching from the stands, someone calls Oga a coward for breaking his own rules. He used skills he swore he wouldn't. Now, Oga realizes his reputation is ruined. Ichinose calmly asks what's wrong and if they're really going to keep fighting. Is this still a promotion match? Oga can only focus on that cold glare. The kid is staring him down, silently refusing to let this go. Ichinose says that's enough, but Oga refuses to acknowledge this defeat. He feels totally humiliated, being pushed around by a lower-level rookie. If rumors of this get out, the guild will definitely take action against him. Dragging this out is pointless. Oga turns to Ichinose with a cold sneer. Can you believe this? He flatly rejects the B-rank promotion request. The kid might be clever, but he lacked a real, decisive finishing blow. No monster would ever forgive that mistake. Besides, Oga claims he held back on purpose. To make things worse, Oga lies, saying the kid was severely injured by his attack. Talk about shameless, the boy looks totally fine. The crowd is furious. They find his excuses disgusting. Oga never planned on letting him pass. Hearing the whispers, Oga's temper flares. Spectators quickly try to quiet down. They warn each other to quiet down before Oga snaps at them next. But then Shu Utsunamiya suddenly steps up to confront the corrupt examiner. He asks Oga if he has any shame. Ichinose is stunned by his arrival. Shu points out Ichinose dominated the entire match until Oga cheated. That final hit only landed because Oga broke his own promise. Hearing this kid call him out makes Oga's blood boil with rage. Ichinose tries to intervene, but Shu tells him to back off. He says he's got his back as a best friend, and he'll make sure justice is served. Ichinose appreciates the help, but quietly asks his friend to drop it. Satsuki watches from the sidelines. She knows her partner won this fair and square. There's absolutely no valid reason for Oga to fail him now. Ichinose wanted to show the clear gap in their power, but things backfired. He ended up wounding the examiner's fragile pride. Maybe he should have held back. He definitely didn't mean to humiliate the man this badly. Oga barely felt that. Next, a stranger arrives to ask what the noise is about. It is the guild vice president Serizawa, and Oga instantly recognizes this highly powerful guild official. Serizawa was looking for him. What is Oga doing down here anyway? Oga shrugs, explaining he was conducting a promotion exam, but calls it a total waste. Serizawa warns him, mock battles are fine, but hurting rookies is unacceptable. Oga simply laughs it off as a minor scratch, which only makes Serizawa even angrier. Serizawa cuts him off, stating they have an extremely urgent matter to discuss. He demands the arrogant hunter follow him upstairs as fast as his legs can carry him. As Oga leaves, he sneers that his busy schedule has no room for losers. Shu glares at his retreating back, utterly disgusted by such a blatant display of cowardice. He cannot believe an absolute jerk like that is at the top of their guild. Satsuki quickly walks over to Ichinose, desperately asking him what they should do next now. Meanwhile, Serizawa questions why a simple test required a full mock battle. Oga scoffs, explaining that some delusional weakling actually thought he could reach B-rank status. So he gave the kid a harsh reality check. Serizawa is deeply concerned. He worries the rookie treats dungeon hunting as an easy game, which Oga absolutely despises. Oga changes the subject, asking what the vice president wanted to discuss. Serizawa brings up the Mausoleum of Beasts, which is a dangerous B-rank portal in Morima. He believes they must keep this gate under strict supervision. If local adventurers level up there, they can harvest far more high-quality magic crystals. But reports indicate that the monster layout inside has shifted dramatically. The concentrated magical power is spiking to an abnormal level, demanding their immediate attention. Honestly, is a little extra cash really worth risking an entire city? Oga asks if the vice president expects him to conquer the dungeon before anything bad happens. He refers to the Mausoleum of Beasts. Serizawa explains the guild's delicate situation. Some members of the Demon Defense Agency want to leave B-rank portals entirely alone. The guild is also hesitant to shut down such a great source of revenue. So they must rely on a highly talented elite like Oga to quietly inspect the gate. They lack portal experts, and Serizawa knows Oga's confident voice will carry weight. He needs Oga to personally assess the danger and convince their highly stubborn guild master. Oga groans, complaining that Serizawa only calls him for the most boring chores. But Serizawa stops him right there, noting that their critical discussion is not yet finished. Oga calls him annoying, grabbing the secret files and tossing them on the floor. Serizawa pleads with him to at least look over the highly detailed data they gathered. Oga scoffs, asking what he could possibly learn from some boring numbers. He boasts that his vast experience proves there is absolutely nothing to worry about here. But Serizawa warns him that waiting for a disaster is a fatal mistake. The arrogant hunter has no clue what kind of horrific catastrophe could break loose next. Despite the warnings, Oga simply ignores him and walks out the door. Serizawa simply wants to keep the city safe, praying that his dark fears are wrong. He has no clue about the true horrors waiting to be unleashed. Later on, Satsuki tells Ichinose how utterly disgusted she was by that hunter's arrogant display. She never imagined a contracted guild adventurer could act so incredibly vile. But Ichinose knows that his rank-up registration is tied directly to this local guild. He must deal with Oga if he hopes to reach B-rank status. He needs to reach at least B-rank to even challenge the library of. Illusion, Ichinose thinks Satsuki could rank up at another branch, but there is a catch. Her level is way too low, completely stuck, then out of nowhere. Hashina shows up. She heard the news and immediately asks if Ichinose actually fought a contracted guild hunter. Word travels fast in this city. And one of her subscribers already sent her a clip of his duel with Oga. She's exposing the guild's dark side and Oga's massive ego. She streams this to her viewers, promising her chat will start a massive flame war. But Ichinose knows she is just farming views. Still, Hashina claims she owes him, admitting she hoped he would be useful. Besides, his fight boosted her channel revenue, making her pretty happy. But Ichinose warns her not to push things too far. Portals are still full of dangerous unknowns. and the association has to respect those with actual combat experience. Besides, Oga is not the type to change his ways just from internet backlash. This will probably just put a massive target on Ichinose's back, Hashina says she. Gets it, but Satsuki watches their banter closely, looking rather suspicious. She notes that Ichinose seems surprisingly worried about her safety. Satsuki asks if she actually likes him. Blushing hard, Hashina stammers. Denying everything, she calls Ichinose rude, inconsiderate, and totally arrogant. Sure, he acts a bit cool sometimes, but overall, he is not attractive. She is only trying to repay him because he saved her life once. Plus, as a rising idol streamer, she cannot be dating anyone anyway. She demands to know why Satsuki is giving her that highly skeptical look. But Satsuki brushes it off, then bang, a phone interrupts. Satsuki checks her screen, and it is an urgent alert for a rank B. Beast, everyone gets the warning. Hashina tracks the origin to the north. District, a massive beast flood, erupting from a preserved rank B portal. In these floods, hordes of vicious monsters escape directly into the city streets. The only cure, find and take down the portal boss immediately, but for Ichinose, this is highly unusual. This disaster never occurred in his past life. Is this a mere coincidence, or did something drastically change? He cannot help but wonder. Meanwhile, Hashina is deeply confused. By this outbreak, the guild should have monitored this gate way better. She has never stepped foot inside a rank B dungeon before, and her current level is way too low, yet she cannot stop thinking about the defenseless citizens who do not even have levels. That realization drives her to join the emergency raid. Ichinose refuses to sit back and follows her. The situation is highly unpredictable, and the longer this crisis drags on, the worse it gets. Multiple dangerous anomalies could easily trigger at the same time. In a worst-case scenario, they will be facing much more than just a flood. Arriving at the scene, they find other hunters already gathered and fighting. They are struggling against a level 34 werewolf, but then Oga activates his berserk mode, slamming the beast and mocking it as a total weakling. But even after crushing the wolf, he realizes things are getting way worse. He gets anxious, realizing the vice president's dark warnings were actually correct. That would ruin his reputation. Truth is, Oga still has not recovered from what happened. During his last clash with the protagonist, onlookers whisper they wonder if this B-rank adventurer really did crush that monster in a single strike. But Oga snaps. Shut up, he tells them, calling them cheap, low-tier demon defense agents who barely deserve a C-rank. Instead, he demands to know where the high rankers are. Someone answers that only a few B-rank fighters remain. They called everyone, but nobody knows when anyone else will show up. Oga grinds his teeth. This is bad. His entire career is on the line. If things go south, his career is toast. But get this, he thinks if he fights the boss first, winning should be a breeze. The target, a level 47. Ghost Fox. Oga figures that defeating it and pinning any blame on Sarazawa will make him a local hero, so he steps up, ready to end this. But the crowd is not excited. They never expected to face a portal boss. Meanwhile, the giant fox creeps closer, looking absolutely furious. The guild reps panic. This is completely wrong. The intel was off. Staring at the massive ghost fox, they wonder what is wrong with it. Then it hits them, an evolution. Not only is its level sky-high, but its physical body has warped entirely. It has gained terrifying new abilities and traits. It is a completely different beast, born directly from concentrated magical energy pooling inside the gate. Talk about a worst-case scenario. Oga finally realizes they are dealing with an evolved boss and a dungeon break. A terrified representative asks what they are supposed to do now. The other yells back, retreat, we must fall back and wait for reinforcements. They need to buy time until the official defense forces arrive, but Oga refuses to run. His career is on the line. So he screams at them in a rage, reminding everyone that he is a proud B-rank warrior who has survived much worse than this before. Get ready, he yells, claiming he will obliterate the beast in one shot. But the guild reps refuse. No way, it is too dangerous. They believe they will not last even 10 seconds against a monster like this. Oga sneers, cowardly idiots, since they will not help. He decides to give them a push. Berserk skill activated. He attacks his own allies. This brutal warrior buff increases their power temporarily, but drains their sanity, turning them into violent beasts. It is a cheap trick Oga used constantly back in the day to escape. Even though it has been years since he did this, he commands his crazed allies. To charge, Oga plans to use them as bait to create an opening. Before delivering the final strike himself, a real adventurer always finishes with a clean hit, but the evolved boss is not just standing there. The fox reacts, unleashing a poltergeist skill, heavy rubble around. Then begins to float. The monster is weaponizing the debris. Oga watches, stunned. He does not understand this power, but still screams at them to attack. But his men cannot move. They are frozen, cursing them as completely useless. Oga charges in alone, parrying the barrage of flying boulders. Oga realizes this thing wields telekinesis, and the scale of the attack is absolutely massive. He's never faced a level 55 monster before, but he didn't expect this insane gap. The difference is terrifying. Without a second thought, the fox charges right at Auga. He has to act fast, thinking about a quick escape while the distractions hold. But he is completely trapped, heavily pinned down by massive stones and ruined debris. Suddenly, the fox closes the distance. With one swift strike, Auga is slammed down. He hits the dirt, completely stunned by this creature's sheer, unstoppable power. The fox seems unbeatable, but then Auga remembers his special beast warrior trait. This play-dead technique forces him to look deceased after taking any damage. Seeing this, the fox stops its assault, giving Auga a perfect opening to escape. Screw his responsibilities, right now, surviving is the only thing that matters. But just as he moves, the fox's cold glare locks right back onto him. It strikes again. Auga realizes his little trick was completely seen through. Escape is off the table, and he hates the thought of dying so pathetically. The fox closes in once more, and Auga senses something even more terrifying. That damn telekinesis activates again. The beast is just playing with its food. Then things get stranger as a bizarre portal tears open on the monster's back. Gross tentacles wriggle out, and one forces its way right down Auga's throat. He can't even scream. Sometime later, the main character, Ichinose, finally arrives. He fought through lesser monsters to get here, even leveling up along the way. She immediately starts healing the wounded, while Ichinose directs a civilian to safety. The area behind them is totally clear, so the man thanks them and runs. But Hoshino warns Ichinose that they can't just keep playing defense forever. If they don't plug this flood of monsters soon, the entire city is doomed. Ichinose nods in agreement, checking his phone to see that 30 minutes have passed. The boss is still running wild, and the situation is getting incredibly tense. If this is the Beast Mausoleum boss, the elite defense agent should have handled it by now, meaning the absolute worst-case scenario might already be happening. Meanwhile, back at the core, Auga has snapped and is actually attacking his own allies. A comrade desperately yells at him to calm down, reminding him of their guild ties, but another agent shouts that it's completely useless. The beast's mental attack has clearly driven him completely out of his mind. Auga is a formidable B-rank beastman warrior, and having him go rogue is an absolute nightmare for the guild representatives trying to contain the situation. When they reluctantly try to subdue him, his wild instincts kick in. Auga unleashes his true beast form, wildly tearing into anyone in his path. He leaves them absolutely zero room to counter, completely overwhelmed by animal fury. Anyone brave enough to stand in his way gets brutally mauled instantly. His razor-sharp beast claws shred through armor like it is paper. A representative tries to intervene, but he is no match for this relentless beast. With zero mercy, he relentlessly tears down his own comrades. One agent screams in pure horror as he watches his friends get slaughtered. Nobody expected a routine mission to turn into a deadly B-rank slaughter. Looking at Auga's bizarre state, they wonder if this is a side effect of the monster flood, realizing this nightmare is only getting started. This is no simple disaster that the local adventurers can handle alone. Worse, Auga is about to slaughter his own ally when Ichinose suddenly flashes in, activating his gravity fraction blocking the fatal strike. Standing his ground, Ichinose confronts Auga and realizes the man is being puppeted by a monster's mind control. The rescued guild official warns Ichinose that he stands no chance against Berserk Auga, insisting a normal rookie cannot win, but as he watches the clash, he realizes this kid is actually dominating a B-rank hunter. He cannot believe such an insane rookie is operating around here. Meanwhile, Ichinose notices Auga is moving way more predictably than during their last fight. The mental interference must be dulling his tactical instincts. Still, Auga charges. Swinging his savage beast claw, Ichinose sees his opponent growing dangerously impatient. Relying strictly on offense, to counter, Ichinose unleashes double gravity and strikes. Oga so hard the mental block shatters, snapping him back to sanity. He asks if the veteran is back to his senses, but locking eyes with Ichinose triggers dark memories of their previous clash. Pure rage boils over, forcing Oga back into his beast form, swearing to kill Ichinose. The mental interference is far stronger than he anticipated, even with Oga being a higher level threat. Ichinose simply does not have time to waste here, so he warns the wild man not to take this personally, leaping into the air. Ichinose activates double gravity again. He layers the massive weight onto his meteor slash. The heavy downward blow completely severs the man's right arm while crushing the bones in his legs. Surely, Oga is completely neutralized now. Observing from the sidelines, the shocked representative cannot believe a mere rookie could casually dominate a B-rank fighter while holding back. This kid truly has no upper limit. Just then, his allies arrive, and Hashina sighs that he went a bit too far. He apologizes, explaining it was an emergency. Satsuki understands the massive power gap between their classes, but insists they must get these wounded men to safety. Suddenly, Ichinose senses a presence rapidly closing in. There is absolutely no time for a rescue. The girls freeze in fear. As the colossal enemy arrives, it slams down with a devastating preemptive strike, shaking the entire battlefield. Ichinose does not even flinch. He knew that the portal boss would eventually emerge. The massive fox glares down. Satsuki stammers, wondering what kind of monster they are facing. Ichinose pulls up his system to identify the ruler of the Beast Mausoleum portal. It is the Ouija Ghost Fox, level 55. He notes its power is vastly superior to earlier intel. An unexpected evolution has occurred. It is glaringly obvious now that the response to this threat was far too slow. Facing an evolved boss, even Ichinose has no idea what deadly skills the creature might unleash, yet Hashina points out that if they slay this beast, the entire outbreak will stop. He agrees, though this boss cannot be brought down with standard tactics. Right on cue, the giant fox summons its beast spirit ghost guardians, sending them charging straight at the group. Hashina gasps as a horde of lesser monsters spawns around them. The longer this battle drags out, the deadlier the outbreak becomes. Even worse, the boss seems to be merely playing with them. Ichinose orders the girls to clear the surrounding monsters and protect the injured demonic defense squad. Hashina demands to know his plan, and Ichinose calmly tells her he is going to strike the beast with high-speed attacks to end this whole nightmare. At first, she's anxious, but she quickly collects herself. If anyone can pull this off, it is Ichinose. She tells him to go ahead while she handles the remaining wolves and protects the wounded. Satsuki and Hashina stay behind as he charges the boss. But the guild representative yells that this is complete suicide. They are facing a boss with a level far beyond their own rank. He insists there is zero hope of victory until elite backup from other regions arrives. But Ichinose does not hesitate for a second. He just keeps pushing forward. Leaving the backup to the girls, Satsuki has absolute faith in her teammate. She knows his strength. Meanwhile, the beast unleashes its psychic power again. Heavy stone debris lifts into the air, just like the attack that wrecked Oga earlier. Only this time the monster targets Ichinose. Our hero spots the threat instantly. The representative watches in sheer terror, sweating over the monster's absurd skill level. The giant fox does not waste a second, hurling the massive boulders straight at him. Satsuki holds her breath in panic. Even Hashina begins to doubt his survival. There is simply no way to dodge an onslaught like that. The representative thinks the beast is just playing around, treating them like cheap toys. Ichinose knows the danger, but he does not let it slow him down for a second. He charges ahead, completely shocking the guild officer with his incredible speed. Nobody in this region has ever witnessed agility like this before. But Ichinose knows the truth. This speed was forged in countless life or death struggles. Survival as a thief meant relying purely on reflex, and those harsh memories still serve him. His past existence was not a waste. Now he glares at the fox. He asks if the beast is starting to panic, since its killer attack completely failed. His mockery triggers the monster's rage, which is precisely what he wanted. Activating gravity fraction, he flings a massive boulder right back at the creature. He mocks the beast's wide openings. Meanwhile, the terrified representative watches, stunned that anyone could put this much pressure on a level 55 boss. He does not know this kid yet, but he is looking at a high-class adventurer. Ichinose makes it clear to the beast that his playtime is officially over. If he defeats this boss, the portal will instantly collapse and the threats will vanish. That means he needs to wrap this up as fast as humanly possible. Watch closely because he is about to put on an absolute masterclass. But the fox is not giving up easily, unleashing its psychic power once more. It hurls jagged rocks while roaring in pure fury at our hero. Ichinose easily slips through the incoming debris. He realizes its attacks are massive. But they are also way too wide and completely predictable. Handling wide attacks is his specialty, sliding directly under the giant beast. He activates double gravity and prepares his next devastating move, Meteor Slash. The impact rattles the fox, and Ichinose strikes again with another heavy surge. He mocks the monster, asking if it truly believed he was helpless in midair. After all, he controls gravity itself. Now, he is finally ready to show his real power. The furious fox lunges back, but the young warrior effortlessly slides out of range. At this rate, even humanoid bosses will not stand a chance against him. These skills are usually more effective than beast types. He also feels he should be pushing the fox back, but their level difference is just too massive. On top of that, his mana is nearly gone. He predicted this because even if they were at the same level, this fox would still be a brutal opponent. Up until now, our hero hasn't taken a single hit, but once his mana runs completely dry, dodging and avoiding injury will be totally impossible. He wonders if he should conserve what mana remains, but he realizes he can't win like this due to the beast's automatic regeneration. Ichinose even considers calling Satsuki into the fray, but he ultimately decides against it since she wouldn't be able to hold off the other monsters. Leaving them means the wounded would just die, thanks to battle experience from his past life. Ichinose fully understands this beast's attack patterns, defenses, and health regeneration. If this battle drags on, he will run completely dry. It's incredibly frustrating to be backed into a corner, so maybe retreat is his best way out, but then he recalls Hashina warning him that the longer this fight continues, the worse the disaster will become. Fleeing is completely out of the question. He knows his past self would never run. Fueled by that, he dives straight back into the assault. He must focus entirely on using his abilities with maximum efficiency and absolute precision. It is all to protect the survivors from his past. Ichinose knows he is being incredibly reckless now. But frankly, he doesn't have any other option. This intense crisis is brand new to him. Suddenly, the monstrous fox triggers a skill called Beast Spirit. Summoning, Ichinose realizes the enemy is unleashing another massive spiritual spell. Thanks to its bottomless mana pool, the beast keeps up the pressure. Unbelievably, the beast casts its poltergeist spell once again. Even the Watching Guild representative registers that it is spamming high-tier skills without any care. For its mana, no solo adventurer can possibly defeat this thing. Hashina agrees as she watches Ichinose battle the giant fox, admitting that even she cannot handle this many monsters alone. She tells Satsuki they must move in to assist. Satsuki worries that Ichinose is finally pushed to his limit and wait, is this monster actually the one who's terrified? As for Ichinose, he is running on fumes, but forces his focus to sharpen even further. It is time to strike back using his signature gravity skills. Once again, the stunned guild official can only watch the young hero dominate, convinced that these reality-bending spells are beyond any human limit. Ichinose confronts from midair, spotting a glaring weakness that leaves the beast completely open. He knows this is his final chance and unleashes a devastating Meteor Slash. The blow connects cleanly, sending a jolt of agony through the massive beast. With its defeat, the remaining spirit wolves vanish back into their portal. The immediate threat is over, though the city is heavily scarred. Ichinose checks his status, shocked by a massive mountain of experience points. He never expected to level up 6 times in one fight, leaping from 38 to 44. His summoned Garmer also vanishes. The terrifying horde from the flood should have dissolved by now. But Ichinose senses something else is brewing. Meanwhile, Satsuki is thrilled her ally managed to take down the beast, celebrating that the disaster is finally over. Hashina, however, silently resolves to work even harder to protect people. The representative looks at the field, a massive boss defeated by just one person. This completely blows him away, leaving him deeply impressed by the young hero. Hours later, back at the guild, Ichinose and his team finally check in. The receptionist can barely believe a rank C adventurer wrapped this up alone. Yet thanks to their insane efforts, the casualties were kept incredibly low. She offers them a very warm thank you for stepping up. Soon, the entire lobby starts praising them for saving the city. They beat a boss that the official defense forces could not handle. Satsuki feels a bit uneasy since Ichinose did all the heavy lifting. But he quickly shares the praise, thanking them for keeping him safe. He admits he would have run completely dry on mana without their backup, getting surrounded by monsters. Famous overnight, they became absolute legends just like that. He jokes about the lack of cameras, but she gets quite serious. Filming a crisis while people are getting hurt is a major no. Ichinose realizes she cares deeply about the actual lives at stake. Meanwhile, the guild vice president stands frozen, trying to process the chaos. He failed to recruit Oga, and a massive portal break happened anyway. The initial defense squads got absolutely wrecked out there. In the end, a completely random low ranker had to save everyone. He shudders to think what would have happened without that kid. Just then, Serizawa spots the young trio walking through the lobby. Staring at the boy, he gets a strange feeling of recognition. This is the very same boy who went head-to-head with Oga during their previous clash. Serizawa wonders if a youngster like him is ready for rank B. He was wrong, completely wrong about this kid. Man, did he judge this guy entirely wrong from the start. He has to admit his eye for talent is pretty terrible. Meanwhile, over at the hospital, Oga is absolutely fuming in bed. He slowly remembers the terrifying sensation of losing control of himself. More than that, he remembers the kid slicing off his arm. Seeing Ichinose praised as a savior makes his blood boil with rage. That heroic glory should belong to him, not some cheap rookie. He vows to use his elite status to ruin the kid completely. Revenge, he wants painful payback for his lost arm, but watch this. The representative walks in and shuts him down immediately. Subduing an elite rank B rogue without killing him is legendary. Without Ichinose, Oga would be dead, simple as that. Oga scoffs, asking if they seriously think he would die out there. He angrily demands to know why they are harassing him like this. Then a surviving defense force member steps into the room. Oga freezes, the representative demands to know the truth. Did Oga actually use a forbidden skill to drive the defense forces into a state of madness? Controlling another person without consent is a very serious crime. Using a mind trick to escape leaves a contracted adventurer with absolutely no excuse under the law. There is no escaping the laws on gate crimes. Oga is trapped. Back at the guild, Ichinose checks on his rank change request. It was denied, he is frustrated, and the receptionist quickly apologizes. Contracted adventurers hold too much sway here, she explains. Since he was rejected by one of them, he cannot reapply for 3 months. But Ichinose is currently level 44, which is far above average. It easily exceeds the requirements, and the receptionist agrees. She claims he will definitely pass if he just waits. But waiting 3 months means failing to conquer the Library of Illusions in time. He blames Oga for this mess. Thankfully, Satsuki speaks up for him. She argues that Ichinose is a hero who already beat Oga twice. However, the receptionist notes that Oga was fired for illegal skill usage. While that behavior got Oga fired, the strict rule remains guild policy. Ichinose tells Satsuki there is simply nothing left to discuss. He needs the unmatched Ring of Wisdom and must find another way. Suddenly, a voice interrupts, claiming to have overheard their conversation. The receptionist gasps in pure surprise. It is Serizawa, the guild's vice president. Why did he come all this way? Serizawa steps up and confirms if he is indeed Ikome Ichinose. Then he announces he will use his personal authority to bypass the rules and promote him. A direct promotion to rank B, talk about an absolute shock for everyone. The receptionist warns that other adventurers might complain to the inspector. The angry guild master will surely hate this decision. But Serizawa has already thoroughly researched Ichinose's past actions, including the flood disaster, meaning Oga likely blocked him out of spite. Serizawa admits that holding a talented adventurer back over a petty grudge is completely unfair. This delay is an injustice, so the receptionist must process the promotion. They can view this as correcting a guild mistake rather than special treatment. The vice president promises to personally handle the guild master. Still, Ichinose cannot help but ask why he is doing this. Sarazawa replies that supporting active adventurers is their duty. Protecting the country is vital, yet they failed to stop the latest portal disaster. The guild foresaw the crisis, but could not prevent it in time. He warmly thanks Ichinose for stepping up to stop the catastrophe. To show his appreciation, Sarazawa offers a handshake which Ichinose accepts. The receptionist quickly follows orders and approves his rank B promotion. Satsuki is absolutely thrilled and loudly congratulates her teammate on this. She notes that very few hunters can match his incredible level now. Ichinose silently reflects on his growth, knowing this speed is absolutely insane. Even compared to his past life, this level of progression is unreal. While defeating high-tier monsters boosts experience, this speed is still unprecedented. He never expected to reach level 44 so incredibly fast. Satsuki quickly notices his serious expression and asks what is wrong. He quickly brushes it off as nothing, but his mind is racing. Stopping a rank B portal disaster is a huge deal, and something feels off. The Shum district, there is no way he would have missed this in his previous life, so Ichinose concludes this incident simply never happened in his past. Life did his time travel somehow rewrite the timeline and change everything, but then again, portals are still packed with mysteries he can barely explain. If he is reliving his life, total wildcards are bound to pop up. For starters, he does not even understand how regression works. Plus, there is the butterfly effect. One tiny ripple can trigger massive waves. Even so, Ichinose feels a strange tightness in his chest and wonders what it is. Overthinking has always been one of his worst habits. Anyway, he achieved his immediate goal and finally secured that B rank upgrade. Next, he checks his phone. A breaking news alert pops up on the screen. It is here, the legendary library of illusions he has wanted so desperately. The alert went live minutes ago, and his new rank came just in time. Satsuki chimes in, asking if this is the exact portal he kept mentioning. He nods and confirms it. He is hunting the Ring of Wisdom boss drop. It is a crucial item for uncovering the truth behind these portal disasters, but high-ranked dungeons require official clearance and safety inspections first. Ichinose wants to submit their application immediately to beat the rush, and asks if Satsuki is on board. She is completely fine with it. Sharing his excitement, meanwhile, the guild master is plotting something in secret. He warns his contact that the Library of Illusions will soon spawn. The prize item inside is highly dangerous, and he cannot let outsiders claim it. The person on the line asks if his team will secure the drop. Monopolizing the dungeon should be incredibly easy with his power, but the guild master calls that foolish since he cannot afford to make the public suspicious. Besides, he still needs official clearance. He certainly has some loyal dogs, but using them now is far too risky. Exposing his true goals would ruin everything, so he needs a third party who will execute his plan without questioning. He orders his contact to reach out to Chimera Fang immediately. The boss must die, the item must be destroyed, and all adventurers must perish. Erasing entire squads and altering identities is their specialty after all, leaving no reason for him to get his hands dirty. With that, he hangs up. A sudden knock rattles the door as an aide walks in to discuss deployment plans for the demon defense forces. Seeing the phone in his hand, the aide curiously asks who he was speaking with. Just moments ago, the commander, Kuribai Haju, brushes it off as nothing important. Meanwhile, our protagonist is busy preparing their next battle strategy to secure victory. Soon, they arrive at Kanagawa Prefecture, Urikure branch, where Ichinose receives some shocking news from the receptionist. It is an official block. She cannot authorize his entry into the dungeon. She knows they are visiting adventurers from another branch, but high casualty rates at their branch have caused immense pressure. If the local body count keeps rising, the guild head will face serious consequences. Because of this, their rules are quite strict right now, but Ichinose disagrees, arguing that leaving the portal as is will make it unstable. So they should definitely let rank B adventurers go in and handle the threat. But the woman fires back, saying if they just need to manage the gate, their regular defense forces are already more than enough to handle it. And if things drag on, the city can easily hire elite hunters from elsewhere, instead of relying on some rookie rank B kid and his rank C partner. She gives a cold apology, flatly denying them entry, but then a stranger interrupts. A man steps forward, asking if they also want to clear the Library of Illusions. Our main character immediately asks who he is, and the man readily introduces himself. He is Seiji Jugoya, a level 34 monk who also happens to be rank B. Just like Ichinose, he wants to clear this gate, but high-level hunters are scarce. Seeing this, Ichinose realizes this could be the perfect chance they needed. With Seiji joining their side, the association might finally back off and let them through. After all, he wanted to level up with Satsuki inside before facing the boss anyway. He was actually quite worried about clearing it alone, but this changes things. With a monk around, things look great, though he still wonders if Seiji is trustworthy. Satsuki, however, feels immensely relieved that they finally have some real backup. The monk quickly recognizes Ichinose and offers a very warm welcome. He even invites him to join forces, but Satsuki suddenly feels left out. She hesitantly asks if she is invited too, but Seiji's expression shifts. He explains that this dungeon is extremely lethal, and he already checked her profile. Being a shaman makes her a hard class to utilize, even compared to typical mages. Her past records are also way too scattered for his liking. He flat out tells them he cannot afford any dead weight in his squad. Seeing Satsuki hurt, Ichinose snaps, stating if she does not go, he is out too. Seiji is clearly annoyed by the rejection, claiming he is not trying to exploit them. He points out that his team already has 2 incredibly strong vanguard fighters. Because of that, his only goal is to conquer this difficult portal once and for all. But Ichinose counters, explaining that shamans can easily drain and restore team mana. This is incredibly useful for classes like theirs, which constantly burn through energy resources. Monk relents, agreeing to exchange their contact info to talk things over. He just needs to run it by his other party members first. Once they all agree, they can register and meet right at the gate. Later, Satsuki worries aloud if they should really team up with someone who looked down on her. Ichinose admits the guy is overly calculating, but seems decent enough. Honestly, it is much better to have someone state their issues up front like that. It is way better than dealing with hidden drama later on during a raid. Besides, Seiji is the group leader, so keeping things peaceful is his job. Plus, a reputable hunter like him probably will not risk doing anything shady. Meanwhile, Seiji privately notes that his team cannot afford to be too picky right now. He knows more members means less loot, especially for that one coveted item. But if they cannot even enter the dungeon, they get nothing at all. Having 3 high-level players would make this raid a breeze, but then the trouble starts. When he pitches the idea to his group, Shion-no, a level 40 warrior, snaps. She angrily reminds him that bringing random weird classes along was never the deal. Going to the portal this way is pretty embarrassing, but Seiji insists there was no other choice. Guild restrictions are never-ending, and everyone knows they are desperately short-handed. Shin complains that she wanted a reliable support mage who could also deal heavy magic damage. She wanted a frontline fighter who could basically handle any situation as an all-rounder. Instead, she claims the monk ignored class synergy completely, taking just about anyone. Seiji only cared about raw numbers, but when introducing his new recruits, he changes his tune. He boasts that both Ichinose and Satsuki possess impressively high levels. Still, Satsuki senses a heavy, awkward vibe lingering in the air despite the smooth meeting. She quietly asks Ichinose if this group is really going to be okay. He already found Seiji suspicious, but the rest of the crew looks even less reliable. Then came Shin's warning: it is cold, sharp, and brutal. If they prove useless and try to leech off the profits, they are dead. But Ichinose actually prefers a strict system where you only earn what you earn. That setup works perfectly for him, prompting Shin to call him surprisingly bold. She turns to Kasai Huru, their level 45 ally, to get his thoughts. He simply wants to clear the portal and be left entirely alone. Since everyone is clearly powerful, Ichinose decides to ignore the toxic personalities. He knows that rushing into an unexplored portal with an impromptu group has major perks. They can secure rare loot and sell valuable map data straight to the guild. Just having their names attached to a fresh clear will fetch a high price. This squad is a mess, still he cannot afford to complain. He knows he's in no position to be picky when trying to clear B-rank portals. The monk admits this makeshift party might struggle to cooperate at first. Gathering adventurers of this level on short notice is an absolute miracle. With his thanks expressed, he announces they can finally enter the illusion library. Every member is driven by their own deep desires, whether it's pride or greed. Yet they are united under one single goal, which makes Ichinose believe things will work out. No more doubts, he tells himself everything will work out fine. The group arrives at the illusion library and begins trekking through its eerie corridors. Seiji warns them that this place is notoriously brutal, even for a rank B portal. He describes it as incredibly rare and a massive opportunity for all of them. If they conquer it, fame and fortune will quickly follow, catching Shin's attention. She approaches Ichinose and bluntly reminds him of their current situation. They are only together because Seiji needed extra hands to meet the entrance quota. Do not dare get in our way, she warns him. Little does she know, Satsuki is fully aware Ichinose outlevels them by far. Ichinose calmly states they traveled far and won't go home without any rewards. Shin glares at him, absolutely hating his calm, level-headed confidence. He promises not to interfere in combat or make any reckless moves. Still stubborn, Shin tells him to simply watch from the sidelines. She scoffs that they probably won't even need his help to finish this. Satsuki quietly worries if they can really secure the boss drop with this tension. Ichinose admits the situation is far from ideal, but they are already inside. Right now, their primary focus must be surviving and clearing the library. After all, the Rank B Illusion Library holds dangers that none of them can underestimate. Portal, clearing it won't be easy just because high-level players teamed up. But Ichinose sees things differently. His perspective on conquering gates is shaped by past knowledge, sitting back and doing nothing, not an option. But just a short time later, Senji spots something pretty intriguing. A book. He cannot read the script, but he suspects it belongs to some ancient otherworldly culture. Ichinose knows that objects found inside portals usually vanish into thin air once they cross the threshold. In the future, research into these portal worlds will advance quite a bit. In the future, they will discover much more about these level distortions. But as of right now, the language found inside portals is basically nonsense. Just a string of random characters, that is all. Some argue against this, though they have absolutely zero evidence to back it up. Still, rumors claim that the Ring of Wisdom in the Illusion Library could finally crack this whole mystery. Ichinose is determined not to lose it. Suddenly, a blast strikes. Senji reacts instantly, raising his heavy shield. He tanks the massive fireballs. Across the chamber, a level 40 librarian goblin is flinging magic at them, but Kasai slips behind the monster, activating Shadow Step. By the time the goblin actually notices him, it is already too late. Head off, clean execution. Honestly, Ichinose did not even need to lift a finger. Sage notes that Kasai is quite incredible, performing exactly as he expected. But Kasai snaps. He does not want annoying praise. Instead, he orders everyone to hurry up and gather the magic crystals. Shin scoffs, complaining that they did not come from Tokyo just to stand around doing nothing. Satsuki quickly calls her out, though. She points out that Shin has not actually done anything useful yet. That hits a nerve. Shin snaps back that it was not her turn. She asks if Satsuki wants a fight. Satsuki apologizes, keeping the peace. Ichinose watches them closely. Their quick instincts and sharp skills are impressive. It is highly reassuring. Their talent is the real deal. But he notices something else. This grumpy Kasa guy, he is hiding something. So Ichinose decides to walk over and strike up a little casual conversation. Kasa immediately tells him he is being way too informal. Nearby, Satsuki spots her teammate trying to chat up the scary, antisocial fighter. Ichinose dissects his performance, mentioning Shadow Step and Execute. Is he a thief? Satsuki watches, completely baffled. Honestly, what is our protagonist trying to do here? Ichinose continues, warning Kasai that damaging the boss is only going to get harder. He suggests that if Kasai really wants to reach the top, he must stop wasting skill points. Kasai is just completely baffled by this weird kid. Ichinose keeps lecturing. He advises him to choose between drawing aggro or playing a specialized support class. Don't try to do both. This sets Kasai off. He snaps that some brat should not be giving him advice. He demands to know what Ichinose really wants. Ichinose replies he is just trying to help, but Kasai spits back a threat. Satsuki drags him away, asking why he is talking to that psycho. He just replies. She whispers, why is he talking to that creepy guy? He just shrugs. Ichinose knows too much about thieves and accidentally lets it slip. He warns that this class must watch its low attack power, otherwise they will end up completely useless at higher tiers. He secretly hopes Kasai avoids making the same terrible mistakes he did in the past. But Shin suddenly asks how he knows so much about thieves. She points out that Kasai is a elite adventurer even among B-rank veterans, and almost nobody in the kingdom knows more than him. Ichinose silently recalls that he was actually the #1 legendary thief in his previous life. But that is a secret he can never reveal. Meanwhile, Kasai is already busy. Scouting the area, he complains that he expected a high-quality, rare portal. But this place feels totally basic. Senji speaks up, saying he is confident in Kasai's strength and feels genuinely glad to have him on board. But then, Kas spots movement ahead. It is a level 45 clock rabbit, and he scoffs at it. He calls it a dumb beast despite its high level, but Ichinose knows these rabbits are actual nightmare beasts that wipe out whole parties. They are absolutely not the kind of monsters you fight without a solid plan. He warns that the creature won't attack unless they get close, urging them to bypass it and find a safer path, but Kaza just scoffs, grumbling that Ichinose has been getting on his nerves all day. He barks at him too. Stop bossing him around. Ichinose knows that if this beast triggers its special skill now, they are in deep trouble, but the rest of the group remains completely clueless. This realization makes him realize how hard it will be to fight while protecting everyone. Within moments, the reckless Kasa rushes forward and initiates the fight. Ichinose yells another desperate warning about the rabbit's hidden danger, but the arrogant thief completely ignores the threat. He confidently launches an opening strike, only to find the rabbit is incredibly quick. He mutters, wondering how its evasion can be this high. It is small, but at its high level, anything is possible. When the beast suddenly activates its extreme dash skill, he finds its slippery movement pattern highly irritating, but this unique style is typical for rare monsters, meaning he can expect some legendary loot once he kills it. Ichinose knows that since the battle has already begun, the rabbit won't let them walk away. They have to put it down. He calls out to the group, warning them that the monster is unleashing its skill, and they must support each other or they will die in a split second. Senji looks confused and asks what he's talking about. He notes the rabbit is only level 45, believing they can defeat it easily, but then the creature's true power begins to manifest, leaving him completely stunned. Meanwhile, the prideful Kasai snaps that he refuses to take commands from a low-level brat, demanding that Ichinose shut his mouth. But during this stupid argument, the rabbit suddenly reaches for its pocket watch. Activating the item, it summons multiple magical books that launch straight toward them. This legendary spell is called Ars Magica, a magic Kasai has never encountered before. Then the hovering books begin to change, with one even growing a creepy eyeball. It becomes a level 43 grimoire, while another turns into a level 42 grimoire. Senji suddenly realizes they are trapped with 4 level 40 monsters in a tight space. Fear grips him as the rabbit triggers its final deadly ability. Ichinose immediately shouts at Kasai to fall back before he gets completely cornered and wiped out. Yet the stubborn thief still barks back, warning him not to give orders. Suddenly, a grimoire launches a fireball at him, but he easily dodges it. Standing tall, he warns the beasts never to underestimate him. As the team panics, Senji warns Kasai about another threat lurking in his blind spot. Turning around, he spots the clock rabbit charging toward him with terrifying speed. Kasai realizes the beast did not flee as expected, and evasion is completely impossible. Just before the deadly strike lands, Ichinose leaps in to save him. Arriving in the nick of time, Ichinose completely shuts down the rabbit's assault. He shields Kasai from the blow and instantly closes the distance to counterattack. Ichinose figures that maintaining his gravity manipulation will keep him undefeated in midair. With gravity manipulation active, he knows he cannot lose a battle in the skies. The rabbit looks furious, and Ichinose mockingly comments on its ugly pout. Meanwhile, a shaken Kasai retreats, realizing how close he just came to dying. He is amazed that Ichinose predicted the surprise strike and covered him. Using a sudden burst of speed, the beast quickly dashes away to escape. This reminds Ichinose that the clock rabbit relies entirely on evasive hit-and-run tactics. He tells Senji he will take on 3 of the grimoires alone. He instructs the rest of the team to focus on the final monster. Senji calls this reckless, reminding him of their sluggish reaction times earlier. He insists they are strong enough and asks Ichinose to have some faith. Ichinose calmly replies that they only live once and tells the monk to duck. He knows the nimble rabbit plays dirty, especially when handling multiple opponents. To survive, they must adapt to these sudden ambush tactics immediately. He notes that even their strongest vanguard was nearly taken out in one shot. Hearing this, Shin begins to panic as the reality of the threat sinks in. Support classes like the monk and shaman desperately need vanguard protection to survive. Shin anxiously asks if Ichinose really intends to fight 3 of them at once. She thinks it is impossible, but Satsuki knows Ichinose cannot be swayed. Deciding to trust his judgment, she believes this is their best shot at victory. She urges the team to quickly slay their target so they can back him up. Honestly, it is a race against time, and nobody wants to slip up now. Suddenly, a grimoire closes in, but Ichinose repels it with a single powerful blow. He realizes his airborne freedom gives him a massive tactical advantage. The enemy possesses fast, high-impact, long-range magic, meaning he cannot let his guard down. Above all, he must anticipate the clock rabbit's deadly ambush tactics. He remembers this creature being incredibly troublesome, even in his past life. Though he hates desperate struggles, he boldly taunts his foes as mere trash. He vows to wipe them all out together, while the clock rabbit bides its time. The patient beast waits for the perfect moment as the 3 grimoires close in. They launch a coordinated attack. Nearby, the monk deploys his protective barrier to shield the rest of the party. Keeping the 4th grimoire at bay, Shin warns them not to underestimate their resolve. She seizes a sudden opening, unleashing a high-damage strike on the beast. Acknowledging the enemy's quick magic and mobility, she keeps a close watch on the rabbit. But as tension mounts, she begins losing her composure under the intense pressure. To her, taking on 3 bosses simultaneously is nothing short of suicidal. She wonders what on earth Ichinose was actually thinking. Speaking of him, Ichinose is facing down those grimoires, just as he promised he would. He activates his gravity fraction, making him incredibly fast and ready to strike. He moves with supreme agility, approaching a grimoire he prepares. His devastating meteor strike, instantly obliterating the creature and pulling in a massive amount of experience points. He only cares about thinning their numbers. Meanwhile, Satsuki launches. Dark orb at a grimoire, while Kasai strikes it down with a sharp wind slash. Shin claims they got 2 of them, but suddenly that creepy clock rabbit reappears. Using its signature Ars Magica ability, the beast instantly summons 2 more of those dangerous books. Ichinose quickly realizes that the rabbit can easily command 4 of those grimoires at once. Satsuki fights from afar, but Shin panics completely. Seeing 2 fresh monsters approach, she screams that she can handle them on her own. She vows to win, but Ichinose immediately yells at her. He barks an order for her to immediately retreat and hide behind Sage's massive protective shield. But she is stubborn and refuses to obey. She refuses to be his puppet. She decides to wipe these monsters out herself with one single, massive attack. As she loudly calls out her final attack, a totally different, eerie sound echoes nearby. Paralyzed with fear, she realizes the rabbit is already right next to her. The rabbit stops directly in front of her, emitting a strange, screeching sound. The horrible screech completely disorients her, prompting Sage to yell from afar to hold her ground. Distracted, she is suddenly ambushed by a lurking grimoire. Deafened by the noise, she never saw it coming. The beast bites her hard. She violently crashes to the cold ground, completely vulnerable and utterly powerless to shake it off. Overwhelmed by fear, she expects death, but Ichinose slides in. He warns her to brace herself because he is ripping this thing off by force. He strikes, violently tearing the beast away, though the sheer impact hurts her. She drags herself away, her entire body racked with agonizing pain, but she knows she survived. Talk about an awkward twist, saved by the very guy she despised. Before she can even stand, her eyes widen as yet another grimoire swoops down to attack. Once again, Ichinose steps in to shield her, ordering the monk to heal her. Satsuki watches their lines collapsing as everyone grows weaker by the second. The young hero senses the danger closing in around them, but he refuses to back down. He calculated that the rabbit's Ars Magica drains massive amounts of mana. If they keep shredding these grimoires, they will easily win this war of attrition. Glaring directly at the beast, he calmly notes that its reckless movements betray its growing impatience. Without wasting another second, he activates his double gravity skill. He knows these monsters have heavily armored backs, but their open mouths are vulnerable. Cleverly bypassing their sharp outer fangs, he devises a quick strategy and rams his sword inside. He triggers a massive explosion from within, completely blowing the beast apart. Another grimoire falls. Satsuki cheers instantly, seeing him rack up more experience. She confidently believes they can win this fight, but Sage suddenly screams out a desperate warning. Ichinose has overextended himself, and now several monsters are swarming his position. A total trap, the clock rabbit immediately seizes the perfect opportunity. It lunges to strike Ichinose from his blind spot, but the hero was expecting this. Instantly activating his inverse gravity, he vanishes into thin air. Staring down from above, he realizes defeating just a couple of beasts won't be enough. To wipe them all out at once, they must take down the commander, the clock rabbit. Getting backed into a corner actually plays right into Ichinose's hands. He knows it makes it nearly impossible for the enemy to launch a surprise attack. He thought the rabbit would try to rip off his head, but its plan completely fell apart. Now the creature has its back turned to him. Ichinose knows this is his chance. He knows the beast is fast, meaning he has to move even quicker. He lunges at the clock rabbit, but the monster swiftly dodges his strike. Ichinose is frustrated he missed. He wanted to use gravity to slice the rabbit in half. But the beast is incredibly swift, and he only manages to graze its side. Its tiny size and speed make it a massive headache, while Kasai faces a sudden attack. A hostile grimoire strikes. Senji tries to defend himself with a sturdy shield. Satsuki watches the struggle unfold and instantly realizes they will not last long at this rate. Ichinose believes that defeating the clock rabbit will instantly shatter the R's magic. He wants to end it with one decisive strike, but raw chasing won't work. It predicts his moves, but watch closely as Ichinose prepares to strike again. The beast activates its impulse ability to escape, but a spell is already heading its way. It definitely did not expect a magic spell to fly directly into its path. Ichinose mockingly asks the rabbit if it really thought it had escaped him. He reveals that he easily predicted exactly where its skill would take it. That high-speed movement skill actually has quite a few glaring flaws. The linear path creates a massive opening whenever the monster tries to use it. With the right timing, hitting it is easy. The beast charges, but Ichinose strikes. He crushes the monster for good, leveling up to 45 in the process. The grimoires instantly transform back into ordinary books, shocking the entire party. Ichinose tells them they made it in time, and the R's magic is finally gone. Satsuki thinks that is wonderful, but Shin asks if it is really over. Satsuki notices tears in her eyes, but Shin claims she just got dust in them. Senji thanks the protagonist, admitting he had completely misjudged his abilities. The monk explains he was trying to assemble a larger crew for safety. If that monster had ambushed just the three of them, they would be dead. Next, Senji looks at one of the books, prompting Ichinose to examine it. The protagonist picks up a magic crystal and a book, identifying them as rare drops. It is a B-rank clock rabbit skill book, used to learn the impulse skill. He notes the skill is highly versatile, depending on a player's class. However, he plans to sell it to the guild for 10 million gold. This shocks Senji, who realizes dividing it among the 5 of them means each person gets 2 million gold, which he finds to be incredibly interesting. Still, they need to head back since they cleared the library and mana is low. He also points out that Shin is barely keeping herself composed right now. Normally, he would be more lenient, but he cannot let anyone else take the prize. He must secure the Ring of Wisdom, knowing that rabbit was the biggest obstacle. If things get ugly, they can always flee and recover using their cleric healing. He also mentions he has a way to restore his mana, sparking Senji's curiosity. Satsuki blushes, nervously asking if he is going to make her do that again. He explains that goblins are simple creatures yielding plenty of mana, making them the absolute perfect food for anyone running low. Seiji completely agrees with Ichinose on this strategy. But Kasai refuses to turn back after coming all this way. He wants to push forward. He thinks he can use this chance to secure his own interests and get actual results. Shin is shocked, asking if he can really say that after everything they have endured. The monk points out she was almost killed, so nobody can blame her for feeling terrified. After talking it over for a bit, they ultimately decide to press on, meanwhile far away. At the portal entrance, a guard says he received 0 word about any official takeover. He mentions the Demonic Defense Agency, but another guard claims it is a highly classified mission straight from government headquarters. Hearing this, the guard quickly apologizes and lets them pass. Once inside, the woman asks her partner if such a tedious method was truly necessary. She casually tosses the fake identification card aside. Her partner just shrugs it off. He explains that the strict rules around these portals are incredibly annoying. But with her unique skills, bypassing security becomes a total breeze. Arisu then speaks up. She wonders why their superiors want the boss item completely deleted after they secure it. Her colleague quickly shuts down her curiosity, saying it is not their job to worry. Their only focus is to complete this mission for the Chimera's Claw organization. He also warns her to drop the illusion magic quickly, since it is draining her mana. Arisu calls him surprisingly flexible, noting that this direct command comes from the very top. This is a direct order from the head of Chimera's Claw, so failure is absolutely not an option. There is simply no way they will fail a basic portal mission like this one. But things are about to get pretty wild. Kikyo and Arisu prepare to go inside. She wonders if they can kill everyone inside. Meanwhile, a level 43 book. Demon suddenly appears. Shin panics, but Ichinose immediately leaps in to defend her. He blocks the blow and shouts for her to back up and find safety. Surprisingly, she listens this time. The book demon is an aggressive creature that stretches. An inexperienced fighter stands no chance, especially with Shin's fragile mental state. She is clearly terrified, but from the backline, Satsuki prepares her shadow hand. Dark energy lunges forward, successfully trapping the monster in place for a crucial moment. Seizing the opening, she rushes in and strikes the beast directly with her heavy staff. Down it goes. She gains a massive chunk of experience points. Watching this unfold, Ichinose realizes his teammate has grown remarkably stronger. That new ability she unlocked after defeating the rabbit seems incredibly versatile. Still, using such a powerful skill on a simple book demon is a bit wasteful. First, they need to focus, thin out the surrounding monster pack first. Either way, he praises Satsuki's effort before pointing out the remaining two threats. But the moment Satsuki turns her gaze toward Shin, her expression suddenly darkens. She coldly orders Shin to get away from Ichinose. Shin instantly jumps back, flustered. Stammering in panic, she claims it is a total misunderstanding. Ichinose calmly shrugs. Honestly, she is the only one making a scene. Shin insists she simply slipped and grabbed him, but Satsuki's glare remains terrifying. She quickly backpedals, claiming she is just incredibly grateful that he saved her. Promising to behave from now on, she watches another fierce clash erupt ahead. Seiji steps up to block with his shield, creating a perfect opening. Kasai strikes instantly, taking down the beast. Ichinose calls out that only one remains. Just a few more left. Kasai attacks the next goblin, ignoring Seiji's sudden warning. Seiji yells that Ichinose told them not to kill it yet. Still, the thief ignores him. He attacks without a second thought, telling Seiji he does not need to repeat himself. Kasai quickly wraps a wire around the goblin's neck, subduing the beast before knocking it out. Ichinose knows that goblins pack high mana points, which is absolutely perfect for their strategy. It is the ideal fuel for Satsuki's mana-draining skill, frankly, out of the three teammates. Kasai is easily the smartest thinker. He might have a rough personality, but he works hard. Honestly, it is pretty surprising that a guy like him ended up on Seiji's squad. Once the goblin is down, Satsuki drains its mana. Seiji receives the transfer. He immediately realizes he can cast a barrier now too. At this rate, they are unstoppable. They could keep exploring this place forever if they grab just two more goblins. Satsuki and Ichinose will be back at full mana. However, the protagonist warns them. Physical fatigue does not vanish. Catching them alive takes far more energy than killing them. That is the heavy tax for using mana drain, and it is the best they can do. Hearing this, Seiji decides to trust his judgment. Together, they march deeper into the portal. Now it is time to map out their next plan. Ichinose turns to Shin with a question. He asks if she will fight the portal boss alongside him. Kasai is totally stunned. He definitely did not see that coming. Shin herself is completely caught off guard. She stammers that challenging a dungeon boss is not something you do on a whim. It is impossible, she claims, but Ichinose calmly asks if she is just scared. Satsuki smiles, realizing Ichinose already knows exactly how to push Shin's buttons. Seiji remembers forming this group to clear the boss, but clearing minor mobs felt safer. Grinding for crystals and experience points inside the portal was already a massive win. Recognizing his own past overconfidence, he asks Ichinose if fighting the boss is too risky. Ichinose replies that he actually has rare information about a special item inside. With their current team roster, he believes they can take down the boss easily. Seiji did not expect that. Still, he deeply craves the boss defeat achievement. Defeating a rank B boss is huge, imagine the massive reputation boost that follows. It is a massive opportunity. That is when the protagonist brings up a crucial term. He asks if he can claim the boss's specific drop item for himself. This item was his entire reason for entering this portal in the first place. In exchange, he promises to hand over all the magic crystals they have gathered. Satsuki has already given her approval, showing complete trust in his decision. Ichinose even offers to throw in some of his own gold to sweeten the deal. This makes the monk highly curious about what kind of item demands such extremes. Still, getting 3 times what they would make from a clock rabbit drop, sold. Shin is still hesitant, but the rest of the crew is already on board. Kasei smirks and asks if she wants to call it quits and go home alone. She cannot believe their recklessness, but begrudgingly agrees to push forward with them anyway. She is only tagging along to repay Ichinose for saving her life earlier. Ichinose quietly notes that she has an unexpectedly strong sense of honor. Meanwhile, deep inside a hidden chamber, the level 60 boss Akasha patiently waits. This boss rules the illusion library. Now, the team has finally arrived. The boss lies behind this door. Before entering, Ichinose coordinates their skills. He reminds them that this boss has incredibly low mobility and massive, slow attacks. As long as they do not rush, they can win without any trouble, Senji claims that if Ichinose's information is correct, they will absolutely defeat the boss, which will grant them the sweet experience of clearing a rank B portal. Shin asks if they actually believe him, doubting that such an item even exists. To reveal key details about a dungeon boss before they even face it. Satsuki admits she believed it initially, but now she is having second thoughts. Shin continues, arguing it is weird how everyone blindly accepts this legendary item. Without showing any suspicion like she does, Senji points out that as an adventurer, it is crucial not to blab about your personal skills, and Ichinose is not the type to make empty claims without real meaning. Behind it, Kasa adds that even if Ichinose is just talking nonsense, he has no desire to clear a boss that someone else already took down. He bluntly tells Shin to go home if she is terrified. Ichinose chimes in, noting that while adventurers risk everything, they can turn back, but Shin refuses. She insists she is not afraid, simply urging them to be careful. Ichinose explains that he and Kasai will distract the boss while Senji guards. Shin laying out the combat strategy. This makes her ask if they are looking down on her, but Kasai says no, he just thought she was acting scared, though she will probably just follow along anyway, fighting this boss. Wait, is he seriously thinking about abandoning his team for Kasai? Escaping is easy since he is the highest level here. Meanwhile, Ichinose contemplates allocating his skill points before the raid begins. He originally wanted to save them to upgrade gravity manipulation to level 4. However, standard tactics dictate boosting his main gravity magic right before this boss. Suddenly, the system alerts him that he has unlocked a new skill, Gravity Field. This neat utility gives him plenty of strategic options for the battle. Once prepared, Ichinose pushes open the heavy door, leading his party into the boss chamber. Upon entering, something immediately draws the young man's attention. The boss is already waiting, instantly locking her gaze onto them as they enter. Then a system prompt identifies her as Akasha, the level 60 boss of the illusion library. They are taken aback, though they quickly note her limited movement speed. Senji commands them to stick to the strategy as planned. But this massive boss is not about to sit idle, unleashing an immediate onslaught with her devastating thunder break skill. Ichinose recognizes her swift, deadly lightning strikes, matching the descriptions exactly as old documents detailed, but this magic depends heavily on distance, which places him and Kasai right in the front. This shields the backline. He knows he can boost his speed using half gravity, while Kasai is a thief class who naturally excels at swift evasion. With the boss lacking mobility, there is no way she can strike them. Now they just have to wait for an opening after she casts back. There, Satsuki fires her dark orb, while Shin unleashes a swift slash attack. The boss defends, yet she still takes damage. She then turns to Satsuki and surprisingly apologizes, leaving Satsuki stunned to hear a monster speak. Ichinose notices this weird behavior and warns that she is likely preparing to launch a devastating area attack at them, commanding everyone to disperse. Ordering Kasai back to Sage right now. He absolutely hates taking orders, but reluctantly agrees. He will obey this once. Suddenly, a massive wave of fire erupts. There is absolutely no dodging this, but Ichinose knows they must stand and block. No running away, the entire party quickly gathers tight around their monk companion. Right then, he summons his glowing magic shield again. Wide area attacks deal lower damage, so a barrier is enough to block it, exactly as predicted. Can easily counter Akasha's magic attacks with their defensive skills, as long as they stay alert. They will strike only when an opening appears. Akasha has massive area attacks but zero mobility, making her an incredibly easy portal boss to handle. Defeat. Ichinose explains how they will subdue her, watching the giant boss behave exactly as they predicted. Shin gets excited and believes they can actually win this. Honestly, Kasai thinks things are going absolutely perfectly. Normal fighters would be crushed, but Ichinose is proving to be exceptional. Studying his movements, Kasai realizes he must eliminate him first to shatter this team. Pushing those dark thoughts aside, Kasai and Ichinose launch a coordinated strike. Just as planned, but the boss is not going to stand still. She readies a magic spell, summoning the legendary Sword of Zeus before striking with devastating force. Ichinose slips past. He closes the distance and strikes right back, mocking her for being completely useless in close quarters. Where did all that firepower go? He taunts from afar. Shin laughs that this fight is incredibly easy, since those two high-speed fighters are easily keeping the giant boss busy. She claims that a portal boss at this tier is a joke, and they will wrap things up in no time, but Satsuki knows Shin is actually the most cowardly. Meanwhile, Seiji thought Ichinose was just being overly optimistic, but seeing him fight now, he realizes how incredibly precise his leader's battle calculations really are. He clearly sees that